we do here is go back.
Let's try it, see how it goes. Hi, it's Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. It is Saturday the 29th of October 2022. Time is currently 5 minutes past 8, so you will of course let me off the hook for being 5 minutes late. Technical difficulties, as per usual. Me being slightly a bit of a moron, not realising that I've got one of my settings on OBS set to monitor and output rather than just not do anything, so there was a weird echo, and hopefully there isn't a weird echo. And someone says out of sync. Oh god, not out of sync again. What did we do last time? I changed the setting here, didn't I? It was the 22.9 kilobits per second. Bear with me. I thought I'd already changed that. Properties, NTSC, match output. Try that. How's that looking? Any better? Is there a weird, there's a weird echo still. How can there be an echo? There's only one audio source. I'm really confused. I've unplugged everything. O'Reilly says yes, it's fine now. If there is an echo, make sure that you don't have Discord open and you've clicked on the video, because that'll be running in your Discord somewhere, so you will get it. So we're all good now. No echo, you're good. Camotech says, Big Mac says good. Good now. Awesome. Thank feck for that. I hate streaming. I genuinely do. It's both stressful and... because I don't have a dedicated studio setup, I just have this basic living room gig thing going on. Every single time is just an adventure in depression. Trying to get it all to work. Anyway, so last time when I was doing the stream, I had it set to match FPS, and it was out of sync. So I've switched it from being 29.97, which is what the camera's actually putting out, to match output. I don't know. I don't know. These things are sent to try us, and try us they certainly do. So anyway, hopefully you're all having a good evening. Hopefully the audio is relatively okay now, and the video is bearable. Let's make sure that the overhead's working. Hello. Yes, overhead is working. Good stuff. And desktop. I'm not even sure what is on desktop, so I'd better not press that. And I got one for OBS. I don't know what OBS means. Oh, that's start and stop. Better not press that. Right, back to main, blah, 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 and see if party works. As long as that works, I'm happy. That'll do for me. So, Alessa says, people I know who have the same dedicated, who have a dedicated streaming setup have the same problem. Yeah, it's like, who'd have thought Windows and streaming and components not working together? How novel an idea. Right, so tonight's stream we will be discussing some bargains which we've picked up during this week, and also a couple of items that we've been sent as well. Just thought I'd go through it. There's many fine things we could talk about. If anybody understands that reference, let me know in the comment section. You'll be showing your age if you do. Yeah, picked up some pretty decent bargains this week, and some things which might be extremely helpful and useful to you guys and girls out there building your PCs up, or just looking for some decent deals for flipping a PC, that is what tonight's stream is going to be predominantly about. Obviously, we'll also take your tech questions and comments, all that kind of stuff. So if there's anything on your mind that you want to get off your chest, then feel free to do so. That's what the comment section is for. This is a live stream. It is interactive, so do expect things like potential bad language. Yes, and other things like that which happen in a live stream when things potentially go wrong. Or when a spring clip catches me in the finger.
Was your little thing at Police Academy?
Police Academy, yeah, who guessed that? Dada Debzar. Yes, it was Police Academy, well done. Matthew Day says at the Police Academy films, very good. Yeah, the actor who played the Commandant Lassar. He was a fantastic actor, actually. He wasn't, I don't think he was a comedy actor, but he did play that part particularly well in that film. Anyway, let's go. Where is that even working? Yes, it is.
Actually, where's
basically.
Ugly Bob?
Ugly Bob will not be with us tonight. He is actually out on date night with Mrs. Bob.
Aww.
So he did message earlier saying that he would not be in the stream tonight. He is basically on date night, and he said don't stay up late. He may be back very late, and he may also be on a promise. So yeah, good luck, Bob. Bless him. So Alessa says we love bad language. Bad language is quite often one of those things which is part and parcel of modern day life, especially in computing.
Especially in this room.
There are many, many, many things which can cause someone to use curse words. Actually, it only dawned on me today that well, this might be completely wrong. I'm going off on a complete tangent now, so let me know in the comments if I'm completely wrong. But cursive is a writing style, I believe, which is basically joined up writing for the younger people. But cursing is using bad language. So is there some correlation between cursive and cursing? Is it the fact that if you use joined up writing, it's a bad thing somehow? Well, it is for AI, because AI doesn't understand cursive. So if you want to say anything on the internet in a GIF or a JPEG or some kind of meme, use cursives, because AI don't understand it and you won't get blacklisted. There you go. You can have a tip for free there, kids. Stuart Clary says, they say using bad language is a sign of intelligence. Probably is.
Intelligence.
Right, so just a quick rundown then. First of all, let's get this out of the way before we say hello to those boys and girls in the chat. So, cool things we've had this week. This is amongst other things, but these are some of the things which, for me, have been highlights and potentially could save you a few quid. Now, the first one, I would say, in terms of actually saving you a few quid, has been, there's a toss-up really between two. I would say it's going to be this one. So this is the ID Kolink SE214 XT. It's XT on the end because it's extra good value. It's not, well it is, but it's not, that's not what it means. So 120mm tower RGB cooler, or addressable RGB cooler, pretty easy to install, looks pretty decent, nice bit of cooling potential there up to, kind of, I don't think it actually says on the box what they're recommending it to, but it's kind of going to be one of those usual things. It's going to do up to probably around about 180 watts, maybe 150 watts TDP power. So this is going to be fine for things up to and including like Ryzen 9 3900X, that kind of level. Anything below there, no problems at all. I've actually been using one very similar to this on a Ryzen 9 3900X, and it maxes out somewhere in the kind of low 70s under full load conditions. So yeah, we'll keep most processors rather cool. Decent RPM range as well on this one, 500 to 1500 RPM. And this has been available on Amazon this week for, I think it was just a shade under or just a shade over 20 UK pounds. Now obviously around the world prices will vary, but from what I can tell, actually I can tell exactly because I will have my Amazon orders on my telling phone. Let's have a look and I'll tell you the exact price I paid. but I think it was about £20, which I feel is a very good bargain, especially seeing coolers and basically any other computer item these days, apart from RAM and your main storage, it's getting really expensive. Where they've changed, oh, my orders, there we go. Why do they change apps? It's like when the supermarket changes the layouts. You go in to get your pint of milk or whatever, and it's in a completely different place. You're like, what? Why would you do that?
Just
Bastards.
Go somewhere else. That's what I do.
Delivered yesterday. So ID cooling, buy it again. Oh, no, I don't want to buy it again. Purchase once, £19.99. So it is currently on sale, amazon.co.uk. It is £19.97, I believe. I can't see the full thing there anyway, because I can't open up the invoice for some reason. It wants to charge me again. Bastards. So 20 quid for a 120mm addressable RGB cooler. This, I feel, is a great thing to have just on hand in case you need one, or if you're doing a build or flip builds essentially. This is going to make flipping a PC very, very attractive proposition for a buyer, because it's going to be cool, it's going to be quiet, and it's going to have that addressable RGB which people flock to. They really do. And it says on the top there it supports Aurora Sync, Aurora whatever the other one is, the Gigabyte RGB Fusion 2.0. I'm not sure what that one is. It's very small writing. I think that's the ASRock one, which is awful. MSI Mystic Light Sync, which is good, and oh yeah, ASRock Polychrome Sync. So basically it covers the full suite. It's your usual 3-pin, 5-volt addressable RGB header and a PWM. So yeah, can't go wrong. 20 quid. Definitely, if you're interested or you want a cooler, got maybe an older system that you want to upgrade a little bit, update, or make a bit quieter, this is definitely worth a shout. So that is a good one. I'm not going to read all the comments. This was another one which basically is kind of very similar to this in many respects, although it does appear, at least on paper so far from what I've tested. I haven't tested this one yet, but I have tested this one. This is the new cooler out from Kolink, or Kolink, however you want to pronounce it. So Kolink have actually been really good to us. They seem to have some kind of tie-in with overclockers.co.uk here in the United Kingdom. So this was available from them straight away on day one, which was actually yesterday, so I got it delivered yesterday. This is their EX180 120mm tower cooler. It's very, very easy to install. This is one of the key things. It's got everything that this has got, but this is super easy to install. You know those spring clips when you put them on and you're screwing into the M4 backplate and you're kind of one screws in and the other one goes up and you've got to put down a ton of force on it to get the suckers to screw in. This is great. I was really surprised. I actually did it on camera. First time, all the screws went in, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, nice and easy to tighten up. And also the fan clips on the side are super, super flexible and very, very springy for springs. I know that's a stupid thing to say, but you do get some of these springs which are ridiculous and kind of like you got to get a screwdriver, jam it in there to try and put the clips on or take them off. With this, you don't need to. And again, I've tested with my Ryzen 9 3900X today. Cinebench, I did a 5-minute loop just to try and get some equilibrium of temperatures, and this maxed out somewhere in the region of, I'll look on my board because it's still over there and Kath hasn't wiped it off yet. She did that earlier. I did the first part of the testing with the old Prism cooler, the stock cooler that comes with the 3900X. Good cooler, to be honest with you. AMD Wraith Prism RGB is a good cooler, but it's a little bit on the noisy side. But I did the testing with that, first of all, stock cooler, and then Kath said, oh, do you want me to pass you over the board? Which one do you want? Oh, the bottom one. That's what I'm using. Oh, no, I just said bottom one. So she went over, grabbed it, straight away just rubbed off all the data that I'd written down. Luckily, there wasn't a great deal on there, and I remembered most of it, so all was not lost, but I think Kath felt very bad about that, didn't you? Very sort of, giving me like kitten eyes and all that sort of stuff.
Fault. Totally my fault.
Totally to blame. Hashtag blame Kath. What was the temperature? 72.8 degrees on this cooler, on a 3900X, in a, what, 23.5 degree ambient room. So realistically, we're looking at, what's that, 50 degrees over ambient. It's pretty decent, quite impressive. This did very similar to a lot of the 240mm and even the 140mm towers and the 240mm AIOs. It's kind of done very similar performance and very quiet as well, which is always nice. So that was a good one. A little bit dearer because it's only literally just come out. This is about 30 quid at overclockers.co.uk. Cav's put links for all this stuff in the video description, so if you want to check out local pricing or any more details, feel free to click on those links. Some of them will be affiliate links.
Not that one, because it's not in there yet. Not the Kolink.
The Kolink's in... Did you put the overclockers link in?
No, because I don't know what that is.
Cav didn't put the overclockers link, so just go to overclockers.co.uk, or in fact just type in Umbra EX180. There's probably only going to be maybe 2 links that come off of it. One of them will be for overclockers, I would imagine, and the other one might be this stream, so either way. So yes, both of those coolers, awesome choices. That one at the moment specifically, obviously very, very cheap. This appears to be a little bit bigger. I know the packaging on this is really nice, like styrofoam packaging. This, I'm guessing, probably isn't as good. So anyway, that's the coolers we'll be taking a closer look at later, possibly, if we get enough time. What else we got? We got Crazy Bob. You may know him as Flat Earth Santa. He's currently out tonight. I'm not going to do that.
Flat Earth Mrs. Santa.
He's out with Flat Earth Mrs. Santa. He sent us this. This is a wall detector. Now I've got a wall detector. It's called a hand. I push it on my. Oh, yep, it's definitely a wall. But no, this is something a little bit different. This is a stud detector, so obviously it's not going to work on me. But this does detect wooden studs or metal studs in the wall. Because we've been doing some DIY stuff recently, putting down some laminate flooring, etc. Bob was buying one of these for one of his buddies, and he thought he'd send us one as well. So potentially we'll be taking a look at that later. I was joking with Dave yesterday. Dave Aitken, if you don't know, he's quite local. He pops in now and then. And I was taking a look at his case, actually, the Lian Li Langcore 3, which the review of that will be coming out very shortly. So do keep an eye out for that. It's an interesting review. But we were talking about this, we were joking about it. Like wall detectors, it's a bit of a daft name to put on there. It should say stud detector. Because walls are everywhere, you can see them. You walk into them, they hurt. Anyway, thank you very much, Bob. Crazy guy. Talking to Dave, bought this off him as well. This is Corsair CX450M, semi-modular bronze rated power supply. Never, ever, ever buy this power supply at its normal retail price. That would be a bad thing. Don't do it. This normally retails in the region of about 50 quid here in the UK, sometimes as much as 55, 60 quid. It's a 400 watt Corsair power supply. Be real with yourselves, it is not worth that amount of money. Yes, it has got exceptionally good components inside it considering its low wattage. Actually, that is something which surprised me. When I took this apart and actually looked into it a bit more depth, the main capacitor in this particular power supply is the same one that is used in the HX1200 and pretty much all of the RM series, so RM650, 750, etc. It is, I can't think of the bloody brands now. It escapes me, but it's basically a high quality Japanese 105 degrees Celsius rated capacitor. And yes, they use it in a lot of their power supplies. So just because it says it's a 450 watt power supply, don't think it's crap, because it isn't crap, it's just low wattage. And the fact that it's modular or semi-modular is very good. So you don't want to pay full price for this, but this has been on offer, and I'm guessing in the next week or so, when we get the things like the Black Friday and Amazon warehouse deals or Amazon Prime Day, whatever it is, all that kind of sales stuff, it's a very strong chance that this will be available for about 20 to 25 quid. At which point, you should definitely pounce on it. It's a 450 watt power supply, but that is the real 12 volt rating. So there is also 3.3 and a 5 volt rail, which gives out another 100 watts at least. So it's kind of in the 550 range, sort of. Doesn't have the best efficiency. You're only looking at about 88%, I think it is, on this one, which is why it gets a bronze rating. Although, because if you use it over here in the UK with our 230 volt power supply, you get a little bit more efficiency. So potentially it could nudge into the 90s in certain setups. But yeah, 25 quid, buy many of them. Buy as many as you can be allowed to put in your basket. Full retail price, run for the hills. So that is another bargain which we picked up. What else we got? Oh, this is a good one. If you're looking for a PCI Express NVMe drive, this is the Kingston NV2. Now there's some pros and cons of this drive, but spoiler alert, most of them are pros. There's very, very few cons. And in fact, the price on this at the moment on Amazon.co.uk, I believe is £56.71, which I think is priced incorrectly for a 1 terabyte PCI Express Gen 4 by 4 drive, which has, I think it's got burst speeds up to, I think it's 3.5 or 3.8 gig. It's a pretty nippy drive, and it was tested on, when was it? About a month ago on, I can't think of the site now. I looked at it earlier. They tested it against basically a whole bunch of 1 and 2 terabyte drives, and in pretty much most instances, this came out in the top tier. It really did. Operations per second was off the chart, and this is using Psion or however you want to pronounce it, their latest E21 DRAM-less controller. So it actually has some provisioning built into it, which it uses as single level cache, and the rest of it is triple level cache. So it's a TLC drive, but it's got a provision of about 90 gigabytes of single level cache. So it has got cache on it, but it's part of the main drive. It hasn't got separate DRAM, but because of the efficiency of that new controller, it doesn't actually need it. This drive I've been using today, and yeah, it is very quick, very rapid indeed. And for 56 quid, for a 1 terabyte PCI Express Gen 4 ×4 drive, that is an absolute steal. So definitely get one of those. You're probably thinking as well, it doesn't have a heatsink on it. So what's the deal there? Again, reality is you don't need one. It runs very cool. The controller is extremely efficient, even under kind of hardcore testing, transferring like a terabyte to the drive. Maximum you're going to see out of it is about 70 degrees, which is absolutely fine. You can put a cooler on if you want to, but not necessary. Under normal operating circumstances, 35 to 40 degrees is the most you're going to see out of it without a dedicated cooler on it. So awesome little drive. Sorry, Kath, are we out of focus or something?
You look a bit pasty.
I look pasty?
A bit overexposed.
Oh.
Only one person said.
That's the camera. It's rubbish. I hate it. So that is that. I would get those quickly. I think those are going to sell out. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a wrong price, but worth looking at. Next one is going to be the AIRGOO. This is a RGB hub, so 8 ports RGB and also PWM fan hub, etc, etc. Yeah, what can you say? This is about £18 at the moment on Amazon. It was one of those things where I was searching for ARGB hub and I was expecting something else completely different. And these videos always do well with RGB hubs because people are definitely into it. And connecting more and more fans, bigger and bigger cases, is a lot of strain to put on your motherboard. So using a separate hub is a good idea. And trying to find a good one is always kind of difficult. And finding one which is basically reliable enough but not too expensive, it's a very fine line. So this one is about £3 dearer at the moment than the previous one we looked at from, I think it was ID Cooling. I'm not sure who the last one was we did. I should remember that. Was it the FD? Might have been ID Cooling. Anyway, I digress. But these are easily available. It's a nice little package as well by the look of it. Plenty of connections, runs off a SATA cable for power. You can put 8 things into it. So yeah, definitely gonna be taking a look at that, see how that all works. Happy days with that. And the last one is something which I never thought I'd actually need or want. This was another one of Flat Earth Santa's giftettes, a 13-in-1 USB Type-C hub. This thing that you never knew that you actually wanted or needed. If you use a laptop or you travel around, having a USB Type-C hub for your laptop is awesome. Because you can just plug in your USB Type-C, leave everything connected, take your laptop away, do your work, come back, plug it in, have all your peripherals, your monitor, your keyboard, mouse, Ethernet, all that kind of stuff, all ready to go, which is awesome. But it also does some other bizarre things, such as it's got a built-in sound card, which I found very unusual. So it's got a built-in sound card, so you can plug in a 3.5mm jack headphone, headset, microphone, whatever, and it works. It just works. Whether it's TRRS or TRS, it just recognises it and says, if you plug in a headset, it says, right, you've got USB speakers and a USB mic. If you plug in just a regular 3.5mm mic, it says you've got a USB mic. It just works. I don't know how they've done it, but they've managed to do something which most sound cards actually don't seem to do properly themselves. So yeah, I'm very, very pleased with that. But the best thing of all is the fact that it has wireless charging built in as well. So we will be taking a look at that, but that is a very cool thing. They're not cheap, but you do have a lot of things there which, if you bought them separately, it would cost you a fortune. So a decent flash card reader, probably 10-15 quid. A USB sound card, again, 10-15 quid. Gigabit Ethernet USB, again, a tenner. Then a USB hub itself, 15, maybe 10-15 quid. So there's a lot of things going on here. Also HDMI and VGA outputs for a laptop. Again, probably another 10-15 quid. But you get all of that in here and a wireless Qi charger and 100 watt power delivery up to pass through for about 30 quid, 35 quid. So that I think is very, very cool. Caf's had that, as soon as I reviewed it, I ordered an extension USB Type-C to plug it into the back of the computer. So this is on Caf's desk. Boosh, plug it in, been charging her phone on it. It's not been getting overly heated or anything weird happening. And when I'm editing, I need a bit of peace and quiet. Caf's grabbing her headset, plugging it into the 3.5mm jack, and she doesn't have to hear me wittering on, and I don't have to hear whatever she's listening to. Absolutely brilliant. And obviously there's things if she wants to put in camera cards or transfer footage, you can do that. It's very, very good stuff. Right, I am somewhat hoarse, so I'm going to grab a drink of something and say hello to you lovely people in the chat. Hopefully. Huh?
Eventually.
Eventually, yeah. I got around to it.
Too late.
I know. I had many things to say. Many, many things to say. Right. Shall I start at the beginning? Let's say those at the beginning. Because there's probably some that come in early doors. So, oh, I did get rid of that off the screen. That was good. Actually, does that actually work? Dave Aitkins says, I recognise that PSU. Is that working? Yes, it is. Awesome stuff. I recognise that PSU. Yes, you do, Dave, because it was yours. O'Reilly says, I'd say Mike's stream tonight can do at least Warp 5. Well, we'll try. We'll see where we get. Rick H says, good evening. William Bodie says, moaning all. Or moin all. So Rick's with us. Mark Berry, how you doing, Mark Berry? Says, good evening all. Patrick LaBelle, the main man, Patrick, says, good afternoon all. Matthew Day is having chicken microwave meal in progress. I sadly missed out on my turkey dinner because I think our daughter inadvertently stole it without even asking or considering that I may need to my turkey dinner.
Well, I've made her feel guilty.
Have you? Yeah, she does feel guilty apparently.
Poor Dad.
That won't last.
No tea.
Yeah, poor old me. We actually went down to the local co-op and Sainsbury's in order to find some festively out-of-date gear.
We could gone off.
Yeah, the gone off section, or the reduced section as otherwise known. And there was very, very few decent deals on.
And no double cream for a whole week.
No, no double cream in stock in either of them for over a week. Well, a week.
Since Monday.
What's going on with double cream? Let us know in the chat.
I drink my coffee with no cream.
It's not good. So yeah, I have gone without my tea, my dinner. Sad times. Anyway, so enjoy your chicken microwave meal. Stuart Clearsworth says, how's it going, folks? It is going. It's definitely going. Nicholas Barlow says, good evening all. How you doing, Nicholas? Sheriff69, how you doing? Tech Soul says, good evening, everyone. William Bodie says, don't forget to press a like from Mub HQ. I agree wholeheartedly with that statement. Letter says, never fear, the big O is here. That always, it seems weird saying big O because there was, when we worked at the BBC, our kind of designer or head of design was called Owen. He's a Welshman, Owain Williams, or Owain Williams, however you want to pronounce Owen. Everyone pronounces it differently. But he was massive. He was like 6'4", 6'5", and he was known as Big O. And sadly, he is no longer with us on this mortal plane. So it always makes me a little bit sad to see the words Big O. Brings back up a lot of memories. Anyway, moving on from that. Rick H says, good evening to Aletta. Having a little private chinwag there. Good for you guys.
Hi, Poppy.
Poppy's come in. No doubt she'll come up and make an appearance. Aletta says she punched the like button and it exploded. Actually, for those of you that are watching on
Here we go.
devices of sorts, hey Pops, what colour is your subscribe button now? Is your subscribe button black or is your subscribe button red? If you haven't already clicked it, this would be a good time to see what colour it changes to. How very exciting. Or you could unsubscribe and resubscribe. Don't know if that makes the figures go mad or not. What? Well, they've changed all the layouts now. So YouTube's undergone somewhat of a colour change. So they're...
So they've run out of ideas and they're doing that.
They're out of ideas. Their red is now changed.
Night, Pops.
Night Pops. Yeah, so yeah, YouTube have had a bit of a thing. They've had a bit of a change around. I think the subscribe button now doesn't look like anything how it was previously. But it's rolling out slowly, so you may or may not see it. And I'm getting some notifications coming in. Who's that? No one that I need to reply to, that's good. Catherine Sinners, so Aletta, we've said Mark Point, how you doing? Lucky man says, suppose I'd better wake up. We'll soon put you back to sleep, don't worry about that. Dutch Jan's with us, morning from Germany. Wie heißt du? German, that is.
Oh, Poppy has pulled Slim Shady Cat and says good morning to Poppy. You've pulled Pops.
So we got to the out of sync bit. Good, good, good. Arala's with us. It says, yay, it is Mike, my favourite Bristolian. You put Bristonian. Bristonian. That'll do. DFrench95's with us. Camo Tech says you're 5 minutes delayed. Oh yeah, I am, definitely. The one Alexatal with the drip. Okay, yeah, I've probably murdered that, but how you doing? Weird Echo, blah, blah, blah. Let's get past that. John Paul Bacon. Oh, bacon. Stop talking about food. I'm hungry now. Nicholas Barlow. Big Mac is with us. I think I'm caught up now. Have I caught up? Welly Bob's with us. Says Tech Troubles, Michael. Always Tech Troubles. Always. Without a doubt. Nick Barnes says, I've definitely done the Discord trick before now. Yeah, I've done that. I had Discord open. I've been watching something. Where the bastard hell is that noise coming from? Anyway, moving on. William Bodie says, where's Ugly Bob? Yeah, we've discussed that one. Police Academy. I do love Police Academy. Police Academy movies are great because it's kind of back, it harks back to a more normal time. Like in the early 80s, mid 80s, there probably was weird shit going on. In fact, it's almost guaranteed there was some weird shit going on. But I think back then, it was very concealed. Not many people knew about it. And it seemed like a much simpler time. Whereas now, life is very, very upsetting and confusing at times. Probably due to the internet and the always connected thing. The 24/7 lifestyle. Anyway, moving on. Camo Tech says, I've had the SE214 XT cooler. It's very decent for a budget tower. Less than 20 quid on Amazon. It is, and it's awesome. Well, at least I hope so. Chris Artford says, good evening all. Ultimate Tech Hub, Mr. Michael from Ultimate Tech Hub. If you've not subscribed to his channel, go over and pay him a visit. He's a good guy. And he's also got a hot tub and a swimming pool. That upsets me. There's a super chat come in from David Aiken. God bless you. And says, much love for the late night X570 life support. For those of you who have not got any idea what is going on, when we get a super chat, the RGB light illuminates. Kath has to get up off her fat butt, turn off the other studio light, and it's good for the glutes. And also we read out your super chat message. And this one is particularly poignant. Last night, or well, yesterday, or was it into it might have been Thursday.
No, it was yesterday.
It was, yeah, but it was Thursday.
No.
The whole story started on Thursday when Dave was doing an upgrade or a kind of a transfer of components and had the unfortunate mishap of getting a drink into a computer. Now, water cooling is one thing, but normally it needs to be encapsulated within either a radiator, a tube, or a pump. Dave forego those components and just put water straight into the computer, accidentally. I think he was just trying out some new water cooling method, but badly wrong, it did go. And yeah, the motherboard seemed to not work. So he brought around the board last night after letting it dry out and going over it with some isopropyl alcohol, usual sort of deal, trying to let it all dry out. I used my Ryzen 9 3900X as a donor, which in hindsight was probably a stupid thing to do, because if the board was bad and it blown my processor, I'd have probably been upset about that, because that's a lovely chip. But anyway, I did it, it worked, we got a post out of it, put it together last night, right, must have been about 9:30 or something like that. You waving at me or the cat?
Waving at Pops.
Ah, Kath's waving at Poppy. Yeah, so Dave brought it around and yeah, we resurrected the board, it worked, we got a post out of it, it was much happiness all round. We like that. And thank you for the super chat, Dave, much appreciated. Oh, and there's another one. So, Neil Longman, thank you very much, Neil Longman. For some reason, I don't recognise that name. But thank you for the super chat. Maybe if I've helped you in a video or something. Or maybe you've just been lurking for a long time and not really said a lot. Either way, thank you very much for the super chat. It is much appreciated. And Kath is limbering up now. A couple more super chats and should be warmed up, ready to do the super thanks. Whatever that is. Thank you very much, sir. Welly Bob says Uggs is in line to get some. Well, we certainly hope so. Better than him walking along with his balls clanging around.
On the flat earth.
On the flat earth. Flat earth Santa's come in. I can hear his balls chiming. Oh dear. O'Reilly says accidental server shutdown. I've done that once or twice. Who else have we got with us? So David Thompson's with us. How you doing, David? Nick Barnes, Stuart Cleary said, blah, blah. I think I'm Greg Cheaper. Just hello all. Lord Erectus in the chat says, I prefer the Cooler Master MA612. You're in a position where you live in Australia, where Cooler Master stuff is probably reasonably priced. In the United Kingdom, where's my bloody seat lever? There it is. In the United Kingdom, pricing for Cooler Master stuff is awful in general. You get the odd special offer now and then, but normally it's kind of Corsair prices, if not worse. William Bodie says, Welly Bob, we Germans don't like walls. Yeah, probably the less said about that, the better. Nice one, Aletta. Kenny D's with us, says hi Mike and Kath. Matthew A says, is that 3p needed to get a free delivery? That's a very good question actually. What's that for Amazon? I think it will be if you haven't got Prime. I don't know. Oh, cable tie. Greg says, this looks like a steal for 20 quid. It is, definitely. For 20 quid you can't get wrong, can you? You really can't. Greg says, I got the Deepcool AK400 you reviewed for 25 quid on promo and could not be happier. That AK400 for 25 notes is, yeah, again, another steal. The thing is, I think with some of these other coolers now, which they're starting to get lowered in price, it's going to be a case of where it's going to be a compatibility issue. So they're maybe not going to support LGA 1700 or AM5. Fortunately, this one actually does support both of those. I just noticed on the bottom there it says LGA 1700 compatible. So, yeah, that's a good sign. So LGA 1700, LGA 1200, and LGA 115X and AM4. Doesn't say AM5, so that potentially could be an issue, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Ultimate Tech Hub says I keep my PC in the refrigerator for optimal cooling. Sounds like a plan. But does your refrigerator then have to work extra hard to keep it refrigerated? Aletta says, come hell or high water, I'm buying a water block for my RX 6800 next check. Good for you. I want to do a water block on a graphics card. Yes, Kath.
Can I ask a question, because second time an H asked, and this, you're so far behind.
Sorry.
Nasty Yoda.
Nasty Yoda.
Is the MSI RTX 3070 Gaming Z Trio a good card in terms of cooling and noise? I'm looking to replace my noisy RTX 3060
Ventus.
Oil Wine Edition.
Yes, the Trio Edition cards generally are pretty good because you've got a much beefier heatsink on there. The fans don't have to run at full blast, whereas the Ventus is going to be generally going to, well, I think all Ventus cards are dual fan, aren't they? Maybe the occasional single fan, but yeah. I would, if I had the available funds and I could find it at a reasonably good price, a 3070 Trio would be on my list for sure. Ultimate Tech Hub says Mike could be on South Park with that cap. Thanks, I think. Twig Hiker says, despite the hat mic, your head looks overexposed, or is my monitor playing silly bollocks? It's probably this thing. That and RGB causes major issues with my camera. I don't know what it is. Panasonic is a weird camera. In kind of studio conditions like this, it does some weird things with lighting, but you take it outside in daylight and it's amazing. It's a completely different camera. I'll leave that off and see how it goes. Letter says, my 3900X never goes over 67C after 20 minutes Cinebench R23. And yeah, that's water cooled as well. So comparatively, for 30 quid at about 70 something, 72 degrees, it's, what's that, 5 degrees difference with a considerable cost saving. Happy days. Letter says more Corsair crap. Buddy Bob says, I like my Superflowers. Superflower PSUs are pretty good. Actually, the Corsair power supply, this one isn't actually made by Corsair. This is made by Channelwell Technologies, or CWT, which they actually make a lot of good power supplies as well. It's like anything, there's a lot of manufacturers out there that do good stuff, and there's some out there that do bad stuff. Letter says, give me a Seasonic or nothing. Seasonic are in a similar boat. They do really good power supplies, but they don't always make their own power supplies. Some of the Seasonic core range are made by Channelwell Technologies as well. Ultimate Tech Hub says, I power my PC with a stationary bike. That's probably a good idea. Domus is with us, or Dom's with us. Hello all, hope everyone's doing well. I wish Mub can reach 80k during this stream. Blimey, that'd be good. If there are some unsubscribed human beings watching right now, don't be shy and do it. You won't regret it. Bless you. We're not far off, actually. Not far off 80k. I think we've got another, what, 200?
190.
190 to go. So it won't be in this stream. It'll probably be, that's probably 3 days. Is that 3 days? Roughly about 50 a day. 30 to 50 subs a day. So, yeah, that's about right, isn't it? 30 to 50 subs a day. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. So yeah, it should be Monday or Tuesday, possibly. That'd be nice. 80,000, blimey Charlie. Mookie MC says, thanks to a really long extension cord and some sneaking around, I power my PC at Ultimate Tech Hub's stationary bike. Well done. Good for you. SP Antics, hey Mike, how are you? Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Sorry, you had your hand up.
Rasman Rhodes, do FSP PSU are good brand?
FSP, again, the Fortron Source Group, or FSP power supplies, they're in the same position as everybody. So FSP power supplies, back in the day, in the early 90s, if you had an FSP power supply in your PC, you were pretty pleased with yourself because they were pretty decent. But like with everything, they kind of upscaled and downscaled. So they did a lot of OEM or ODM work for other manufacturers. So other manufacturers put labels on. They built some cheap rubbish and they built some really nice power supplies with, I think I recall one having something along the region of about like 20 Molex connectors, absolute tons and tons of connectors, like wires like crazy. Absolutely insane power supplies with like really high wattages back in the day. I'm not too sure what they do now. Not entirely sure. But I wouldn't say they're necessarily rubbish or bad. I think they're pretty cool. In general, I wouldn't be offended with the FSP power supply. And in fact, actually, I've noticed I actually got into trouble with InWin because they sent me something to review and the power supply was rebranded but made by FSP. And I mentioned it in the review and they were saying, well, no, it's our power supply. It's like, well, it says FSP on it. But no, it's our power supply. FSP have built that for us. It's our power supplies. Well, okay, yeah, whatever. I understand where you're coming from, but yeah, unless you actually physically make it in your own factory, it's kind of not really yours, even though you've spec'd it out. But anyway, moving on. David said, John Paul Bacon, I also have a 1600 XT, the Gaming Z Trio. Fantastic card, should last years. Yeah, MSI do make some very, it's bizarre, they make some really good stuff and they make some stuff less well, let's say. Coolers being one of them. Stuart Cleary says, had a Burger King steakhouse meal about 7 PM tonight, so struggling a bit to get the beer down. Beer and Burger King. The key to a long life. Chris Hartford says, I remember I paid 90 quid for an FSP power supply from Maplin way back. Yeah, I think FSP were in Maplin quite a lot. If actually, where is my, I'm looking at my HP power supply. Christ, I can't see that. Oh, no, it's LPS. A lot of laptop power supplies used to always come from FSP. They did specialise in those for a long time. Danielle Emberley says, Tom's Hardware has detailed PSU reviews that usually identify the manufacturing source. Very lengthy multi-page reviews. They're awesome. David Underhill says, I love MSI, but not their coolers. I used Vitro in my 2 bills. Yeah, the Vitros are pretty good. There's a lot of the Vitro feel, actually, to both of these, the Kolink especially. Shearer69 says, I have MSI 3060 Ventura 12 gig. What's a Ventura, or is that a misspelling of Ventus? I'm guessing it is. David Underhill says, never heard of FSP, not sold here in Oz. It might be under Fortron Source. That is what their official name was. Fortron Source. I'm sure it's yeah, FSG or FSP. So it's Fortron Source Group or FSP. Yeah, various iterations of that same thing. Peter Ash says, is Vitro easy to fit to AM4 board? Yeah, it's kind of, there's no real gotchas with it. It's a little bit fiddly for the wire spring clips, but I think that is par for the course with most of these types of coolers. Alessa says, beer in Burger King sounds good. I haven't had a beer in several months. I haven't had a beer in, I'm not sure if it's several, but a good few. Oh, Dave's getting political about MSI. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to get my cup of tea, actually.
Knock your phone off.
That's right. It needs an upgrade.
But upgrade needs to be thrown away. You could have my Nokia.
Huh?
That's John, no beers in 12 years.
Wow.
I didn't drink for about 7. Don't drink now, really.
Right. He says, what did I do with my... Ah, I know what it is. Sorry. I'm thinking out loud. That's what that strange creaking noise is. Right, I'm going to plug in my phone charger actually, because I'm going to want to listen to something when I go to bed tonight. So let's move some of this stuff out of the way. Let's get rid of the power supply for now. I've got to try and think there's a special order that I can do this in so that I can unbox it and actually use each product to test the next available product. But I can't remember the order that I thought about it in my brain, because it was like a while back. Buy one of these. Get your Kingston NV2 drives now. I'm actually going to buy another, I think. I was very impressed with that. Please don't fall out of there. Stay. Nice drive. Downside about Kingston is they do bait and switch all the time. So just because it's got the Scion E21 controller in now, doesn't necessarily mean it will do in a month's time or a year's time. So that is always a problem. And also, if you go to their website, the specs are kind of very sparse. So you really need to kind of peel the labels off, even the branding for the RAM. I think the RAM on that drive is the older 110 layer Toshiba stuff, which is what they use in, oh, what's that other drive? Kioxia. So Kioxia is basically Toshiba, or Toshiba is basically Kioxia, or thereabouts. So their BICS RAM, BICS, is their kind of 3D stack RAM, and I'm pretty sure it's the 110 layer which is in that drive, if that means anything to anyone. It probably doesn't, so yes. Anyway, let's get rid of some of this stuff. So Kath, I'm going to ask you to plug in this cable. This is, I never thought this would be so expensive. This is a USB Type-C extension cable, which is something that most people probably think I would never use a USB Type-C extension. But actually there's quite a few things that I could use it for, such as my OBSBot camera. That would be quite handy to get it a little bit further away from the PC. But also, if you're using a USB Type-C hub, because you want to use Type-C, because obviously it's going to be faster data transfer and all that kind of good stuff. Actually, I haven't got Type-C on that wall charger, have I? There is the bloody straight away. I've ruined it for myself.
Do you need me?
Sorry?
Do you still need me?
I don't think I do, because I can't think of a way. I meant to buy some USB Type-C to Type-A adapters. Did I buy one of those? And did I put it somewhere that isn't on the end of a lightning adapter? Nope. I bought 3 of those bloody things. Oh, I know what I did. I gave it to Angel so he could charge her phone. That was a big mistake. Ah! I know, that's lightning, isn't it? Or is that Type-C? That's Type-C. Well done. Calf's come to the rescue, everybody.
And I don't even use that cable.
That was a stroke of a genie ass. Well done. Sorry, I'm off camera. You probably...
Oh, it's because I've got the cat on my lap.
Right, let's plug that into this wall socket, because this should give us a decent amount of amperage without shit blowing up. Live action. It's all live. Nearly fell off. Right. USB Type-C female. Let's get out the old charger so I can get my phone on charge. So just to reiterate, this is so cool. It's got a bit of everything. So, Qi charger on the top, so that's your wireless charger, so you can plug it, you can charge your Samsungs, your iPhones, your AirPods, many other fine wonderful things which will charge via that format. This side you've got USB Type-C power delivery, so that is up to 100 watts incoming. So then if you've got this plugged into your laptop, it'll charge your laptop and power anything else which is connected to it, so that is really cool. You've got HDMI output, 4K 30 Hz. You've then got trans flash, which is the basically micro SD, or you've got full-size SD. Next to that, you've got that magical 3.5mm jack plug, so that's your basic USB sound card. On the end, VGA output for maybe into a projector or something, if you're working somewhere that has a projector, or maybe you've got a roof-mounted projector in your office, I don't know, maybe. Gigabit Ethernet, nice to have. And on the other side, you've got a traditional USB hub, but you've also got USB Type-C ×2, and you've got two USB 3.0s and a old school USB Type 2 if you've got some device which just doesn't like being on USB 3. So that's bloody amazing. There's so much connectivity there. Plus, the best bit of all, wireless charging, which I'm going to be using now. So I can plug that in any way I want to, because USB-C is bi-directional. And is that still actually in the shot at all? Can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've got that over the top.
Where's my text? So clear the text. Clear. Wait for that to, there we go. Let's get a bit closer. So, charge your phone. Bosh. Happy days indeed. I like that. So you'd have that plugged into the back of your computer or to a mains outlet or whatever you want it to do. And this will... Jesus Christ. I thought it was going to blow up then. Here's my microphone. I thought Flat Earth Santa sent me a duff. It's going to blow up my shit. Anyway. Yeah, so you can have this on your desktop. You don't have to have a laptop to use it. Obviously, if you've got a laptop, it kind of makes more sense. But just have this next to your desk. On the top, you've got your monitor, your keyboard, mouse, etc. You have that there. You can charge your phone when you're not using it. If you need to take out your camera card, quickly transfer some files, you can do that. Extra monitor if you want to. Plug it in. A ton of USB drives at the same time. It's just a cool thing. I love the fact that it's got the wireless charging. Wireless charging for me is a very, very cool feature, because people break USB ports all the time, and constantly plug in and unplug in a USB or a lightning connector on an iPhone is basically a recipe for disaster. It's going to fail sooner or later. At some point it will fail. So using the wireless charging is great, and it's a nice kind of slow, gentle charge as well, so it keeps it charged up and doesn't cook the battery, which is what we'd like to see. Anyway, so thank you very much to Mr. Bob for sending that one. It is actually one of those real, genuine things which is like, I need that in my life. It's a very, very cool thing to have.
But I've stolen it.
I have stolen it.
I don't mind a cheaper version. I don't need all the rest of it.
You just want the charger, don't you?
Yeah.
I have got a Qi charger somewhere, but I don't know if it works with iPhone. I'll have to have a look for that. We'll see what it's all about. Right, I'm going to have a look at this cooler. I've not seen what this is like yet, so we are going to find out together if this looks like it's going to be an absolute nose to fit or not. So SE212XT, and straight away inside, live and direct. Where's my scenes? There we go, overhead camera, so you can see that now. So straight away inside, we've got our installation guide. Calf's waving.
Nick Burns, is there a limit to the output for laptop use?
100 watts is the power delivery output is 100 watts, so it'll take 100 watts in, out, shake it all about, if that makes sense. I don't know. Is there a limit to the output for laptop use? No, I don't think there is. I think it's 100 watts is on the QD port, the power delivery ports. I'm not sure about anything else. It's a good question. I don't know. You have to be a bit more specific on that, Nick. Ooh, that looks quite nice already. Got some stuff going on here. And that side is, well, that side was, oh, that's not going to come out. Let's not kid myself and think that I'm a professional at this. That's quite a nice big flat cold plate on there. What else we got?
The video is very dark now. Is that on a phone? Because my phone picture's pretty dark.
It's because that camera's got a shockingly bad sensor on it. Is that better? That looks better. Hey, Ugly Bob's coming with a super chat.
Us filthy animals.
Us being filthy animals. Bob, you're the one out
On a promise.
on a promise. Hope you're having a nice time, mate.
Is that better, William?
There, the picture's got even darker now.
Hashtag blame Uggs.
Thank you, Bob. We actually, I hope your ears are burning. I was just talking about that Qi charger, which I'm currently using at the moment. I'm still at 84% now. Come on, charge your bugger. Right, let's have a look at this. This looks very small and bent already. So this is, oh my Jesus. Let's have the overhead on that. So hopefully you can see that. Now, literally, I've just taken this out of the box. You've seen me do this. And that fin is basically, well, ruined. And there's a little bit of bend on there. So this is why this is cheap, because it is cheap. And it's got very, very thin fins on it. I don't even know if I can mend that. That looks wrecked. Unless I get my needle nose pliers out on it. Yes, Kath.
Look at Poppy and...
Hey, Pops. Don't press escape. Mind your buttocks. Mind your little cat buttocks.
They can't see her now, but...
I know.
Middle son got a mini laptop and hub company supplied, doesn't put enough power out to charge laptop and power HDMI USB connections to the extra 2 monitors.
Right, yeah, so you're going to want a hub. This is going to support power delivery up to, well, 100 watts at least. I think that's probably one of the highest ones you can get. So I would, if you're on Amazon, get one of those ones. It's from Cottny. The link's in the video description. I would definitely suggest having a look at it and seeing what you think of it. Give it a try. See what it does. If not, you've got the option to send it back within 30 days due to Amazon's usage and all that. Sorry, I'm actually off screen at the moment because I'm trying to find my long-nosed pliers, which I'm sure I've got somewhere. I'm going to see if we can straighten out these fins so I don't have to cry and send it back. To be honest with you, it's probably going to be hidden anyway by the fan, but it would be nice just to get it straightened out, just so I don't have to lose sleep over it, which no doubt I will.
Right, David asked, will you test the cooler? I've also been looking to buy it.
I will be testing the cooler, but not in this video. I'll be doing that in a separate standalone video.
Which cooler is this? You haven't tested this one yet, have you?
No. Technically, I haven't done either of them, or well, I have, but yeah.
But we can give results.
Oh, I haven't got any long-nosed pliers. How can I not have long-nosed pliers? Call yourself a bloody computer technician. Useless sack of Ah, there we go. I thought I had some. I actually smiled a bit then when I found them.
No.
Long-nosed pliers, which, oh, they're actually bent. I've probably used them to do something I shouldn't have done before. This was the ones we used. Remember when I knackered out the brakes on the back of the BMW and I couldn't get the spring back on? Yeah.
That was on the front, wasn't it?
No, that was the back springs because it had brake shoes.
You must have the car in the other way round.
I don't think this is going to work. I think I'm going to make this worse. If that is at all possible. It's a very delicate operation going on here.
Pinocchio pliers.
I don't know how they've managed to bend it that badly.
Let's answer the no queue. Liars.
I don't know, they might be. Right, that is moderately better. It's not perfect. Oh, Jesus. Oh, is that acceptable? I still see that it's bent, but I guess that is what happens when you buy a cheaper cooler. So these fins on the side are, yeah, there's just by wiggling your fingers you can see that is moving quite a lot. There's a lot of movement there. And actually, if I did see someone said then use a knife. He's got a knife. I'm going to get out the other cooler a minute and I'm going to try not to mix up the equipment. This is actually quite good. I'm actually redeeming myself slightly here from being somewhat of a slight shill for Kolink, but this is where you actually get the thing. So when you look at prices, there's the cooler. So it's a little bit bigger anyway. So this is the Kolink Umbra EX180, and this is the ID Cooling 214. But look at the fin difference. So this is like wobbly. I can wobble out with my fingers. These ones, they do wobble a little bit, but you can hear it. They're solid. Whereas that, a bit finer. These are, it does bend a little bit, but look at the quality. Look how it's come. They're all basically in absolute pristine condition. And, oh, cheers Pops. If you look through them, you can see there is a slightly wider gap on these. So you're going to get more airflow going through. This is going to be slightly more restrictive. And there's always a fine balance between having restriction and having too much airflow. You just want it so that the air can pass through quickly so that it takes the heat with it to the outside. But anyway, you can get an idea of the difference in size there. So this is a little bit smaller, so if you haven't got a lot of room. And looking at the top, arguably I would say that probably looks a little bit nicer. Although that is kind of nice and flat. I think that's going to be down to the individual to kind of which do you prefer the look of, really. That's kind of like a fake plastic brushed steel kind of thing, which looks like it's held on with 2 screws, whereas this one is just clipped in by the look of it, but I don't want to take it off. Looks like it comes out, but the fins on here are definitely a lot more sturdy, which is why it's probably more expensive. So let's put that back, don't need that anymore. So there is the fin stack. Yeah, a bit of damage there. I don't know whether I'd speak to Amazon about that or not, really, because essentially you're going to take out your fan, your ID Cooling cheapy. Actually, yeah, you can tell already it is a bit of a cheaper design. The fan on this is a little bit cheaper. You've got rubber pads in the corners though, that's fine. DC brushless fan, and on that side, so when you've got it on there, actually that fan is a lot bigger than it needs to be. Whereas normally you have a heatsink which is bigger than the fan. I don't like the bent bits, that upsets me. And this is also offset as well, so depending which way you have it round, obviously this side is going to give you more clearance for your RAM on that side. Or if you want to do something else, you could do it that way to push it more forward. Maybe do a dual fan setup. That might be quite nice. Let's see what else we get here in our accessories. So accessories kit looks okay. We've only got one set of springs for the fan, which seems to be like a common thing these days. And it looks like they've copied the Noctua and others type of design. So you've got the plastic spacers. an additional backplate. So that is going to be, I'm guessing, doesn't have any markings on it, but I'm guessing by the layout that's going to be LGA 1700 possibly. And that is going to be for, actually I wonder if that is AMD. I need to look at the instructions. I don't like having to look at instructions because that means that there's complexity involved. Let's have a look. So LGA is going to use, right, so yeah, LGA is using the bottom and the top. So that all goes together. So that'll be with your LGA 1700, yada yada. But we're more concerned about AM4, I think. So AMD AM4 is using the standard backplate. Oh no, you still use the metal. So potentially it could do AM5 as well. Right. So this is going to be for your AM4s. So you're going to be looking at something approximately like that. So those are going to go in the top there where those little holes are. You can just about make out that. So that's going to kind of fit in there. That one's going to be there with these pillars underneath. And then once you've got all that together on your socket, this is going to go over on the top of that, and then you're going to have your thumb screw going into there. Ooh, that doesn't feel good at all. Why have they not managed to make sockets and mountings kind of, well, even remotely universal? Well, this is hard work just moving it around. It doesn't feel like it's threaded on there. I'm going to take that off because I don't feel that is actually even the right screws for that thread. Let's see if that goes on without it. It is just there's. It must just be there's a bit too much resistance there. Someone said actually on the chat earlier that they've installed this. And they use one. Can't remember who it was who said it, but that to me seems a little bit overly complicated for what it needs to be. But I guess if it works, it works. So happy days. Comes with a little spittoon of thermal paste. Yeah, that's not the night. Sorry.
Neil Longman.
Ah, Neil Longman. Yep, I found it easy to fit. Well done, Neil. Thank you for that.
There's a whole video on ID on how to do it.
There'll be another video out from me soon. This is how I've learned to do it and not be such a wally whilst trying to do it. So yeah, it almost seems like the LGA 1700 is probably the better socket to use actually for this, because you've got actual bits there which it can go down over and actually screw into, rather than kind of a little bit of guessing on the ends there. Okay. So that is all the bits and pieces. I suppose the important thing is, what are the fan clips like? And already I can see I'm not keen, because the hooks on the top are actually really small hooks. I like them so they're bent over and then bent over again, so they don't accidentally fall out. If I'll see if I can give you an illustration of what I mean there. So if that goes on, oh no, they're going to go on the back, aren't they? So that goes on the back. That's going to stretch down like that, I guess. So that's not too bad. But then if you're doing it from a upright position, you've got to make sure that holds in. And that is, oh yeah, it doesn't feel, it's fine, it works and is attached. I don't know, it just feels like not the most elegant of solutions. It doesn't give you the most confidence. I'm pretty sure that is exactly how it's intended to fit. Let's have a look on the side there. Yeah, that looks about the same. Theirs looks a little bit straighter on the illustration, as you'd expect. But yeah, that looks okay. Let's get some RGB into it.
No.
Out.
There's drinks up there.
Right. Excuse me a second, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to smash a cat.
What do you mean?
Out.
That's how you behave, little Poppy. Flame nose.
Gosh darn it. Right, you two, stop being animals. Be humans for a bit. Just sit down and watch TV on a Saturday evening. Right, chill. You can stand on there if you must. God damn it. Right, sorry about this, just having a cup of tea. That ain't bad. Anyway, right, let's get that camera back on. So, David, can you test the temps with this CPU on stream? Possibly. I'm trying to think how I could do it. I need some sort of test system or test bench. I haven't got anything that I can easily gain access to, I don't think. Or have I? I'm thinking, yeah, because I wouldn't be able to see the screen at the same time. I can't use that one because that is streaming, so I can't turn that off. Matthew Day says, someone is tempting disaster. Yes, I should have another system here really for that sort of thing, but I don't have the room for it. Ironically, I did have a system set up earlier for doing exactly that, which in hindsight I should have left actually put together. But it's having the extra monitor to actually see what is happening. There's never enough monitors. Never enough monitors. That's what I meant to buy last week. A USB Type-C stroke HDMI portable monitor. That would have been a sensible move. Anyway, so that is that cooler. Yeah, sorry, I'm not going to be able to test its cooling abilities. I can't imagine it being that dissimilar from pretty much all of the other 120mm ones.
James dropped in.
Thanks, James. Fixing my gas-powered pressure washer. Wow. They're good. I've always wanted them. I do like the fact they've put this sticker on, the warning sticker, which isn't just a clear one. Because those clear ones often, especially if you're kind of speeding along and forgetful, you can leave those attached, which I do quite frequently.
Speeding?
Right, flopping along. Is deep cool and ID cooling merged now? The link description says the tower cooler is a deep cool one. That's probably just CAF being useless.
I didn't create any.
You put a link for this one?
The link description. I didn't put any description. I only put the links. So that's you.
Oh, that might have been me. I might have typed in deep cool. It should be deep ID cooling, so that's my fault.
So I'll change that then, yeah?
Yeah. Matthew Day says, me looks round at 2 spare 24-inch and a couple of 22-inch. I really must get a double arm. I need to get a arm on the side of this desk, which I can put a monitor on that side. So I can put all that there, then put a live monitor there so I can actually do testing. That would be great. But it's kind of, I don't think it's going to happen. I do need to get a cow or a computer on wheels. So literally just wheel it in, put it there, stream a PC, hook everything up, use it, and then do anything else on this desk. It's a work in progress. It really is. Captain White's with us. Evening, folks. How you doing, buddy? David Underhill says, I use 2 32-inch and 6 24-inch. Holy shit. G-Zone Gamer, what is best, water cooling or air cooling? Well, water cooling gives the best results, but air cooling is inherently more reliable and less expensive. although if you're buying Noctua, possibly not. So these fan clips, actually isn't, I want to see if they can come off. Yeah, they do come off quite easy as well, but I would have liked to have seen them having another doubled over edge on them, just so that when you're taking them off, they don't disappear down into the pit of your PC. Although, to be honest with you, most people, I suppose, are going to just end up on top of your graphics card, so it's not the end of the world. Oh, actually, that's what I was going to do. I wanted to see, I wonder if I can get a generic output from the AIRGOO hub. Right, I'm going to put this back on. I'm going to fire up some means of actually testing what the fan's like on this and see how noisy it is. Because one of the selling points of this particular one for the ID Kolink S.
You keep calling it ID Cooling. I've updated it to
Yes,
ID Cooling.
It is ID Kolink.
Oh, not ID Cooler.
No, it's ID Kolink, it says there.
Oh, I have to change it again then. I got told it was Cooling.
What the hell are they doing?
I don't know.
Bloody cats. Does anybody want to buy a cat? Go and cheap. Right. Power supply. That was the next thing, the power supply. Let's get the power supply out. Making a right old mess here.
I think Lazy got a pen stuck to her collar.
Oh, did she?
That's
Bless her heart.
freaking it off.
Let's move that out of the way. So this is going to be, normally when you watch the videos, if you see something with RGB that isn't actually connected up to a computer, there's a very, very strong chance I've done it like this. So I've probably grabbed the power supply, just chucked it, powered it into the wall, and hooked up like the GameMax controller, which is generally actually quite a good way of doing it. And this is going to have a couple of SATAs on it as well, so that's good. Important information, don't lose that. Might come in handy one day. Like when the police come around. So how do you think the fire started? Well, Mike from Mike's Unboxing suggested this cheap ass power supply to me, and at the time it seemed like a really good idea. But when the flames started coming out, it seemed like a much less good idea, and I was very much opposed to it. Where is my jump starter?
Captain White said I do modular frameworks for a living, so if you need any portable frameworks.
Oh, that sounds very cool. Modular frame. I don't know what even modular framing is, but it sounds great, and it sounds like something I should definitely have.
Isn't it like just a framework?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The clue's in the title there. Framework. Did he say framework? He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the clue.
Hold on, I'll read it again. Let me do it. I do modular frameworks. Portable frame making.
Yeah. That's working.
It is framing that is modular.
Yeah, but there's lots of what sort of framing? There's many types.
Right. Will you be doing a video on this ID cooler? You will, won't you?
Yes, I will be doing a video on the ID cooler. There will be a dedicated video. It will be tested on the Ryzen 9 3900X. I will give you some examples of noise levels and installation. Cyberglue, has Mike done a video on installing LJ1700 contact frame anti-bend? No, I've avoided LJ1700 like the plague for the reasons of it's expensive and it doesn't really give you a great deal of benefits over AM4 platform unless you're just a benchmarker, in which case it's a great thing to have.
I'm wondering how easy or difficult it is with the proper amount of torque pressure needed. So I don't think it's whether to get it or not.
I think the pressure and torque things comes down to the individual kits that you're using. I think the Der Bauer one was probably the one that most people would go to because the instructions seem to be quite concise.
Captain White is primarily developed for exhibitions and retail interior.
Ah, right, okay. I think I understand. Why is this not working now? Now it's working. Praise the Lord.
Lucky man said back monitor went off when you hit power button, Mike. There's a bit of a funny fault there.
Yeah. Well, that one did, or that one.
Well, it must
Oh, it must be that one, yeah.
Next. You can only see that one.
I don't know what it is. There's something up with that socket.
But who wired it, Mike?
I think it's Royston. I'm trapping me things now. Right. Now I'm going to use my... This is cool, actually. This is from Noctua. You might have seen this a couple of times already on various videos. But this is actually a fan controller. So you can plug this into just a generic SATA connection, such as the plethora of ones which are available on this particular power supply. And you can then plug in your fan on the other end into one of the 3 outlets. Doesn't matter which one. And then you've got a little dial, a rheostat, I think they call them. So you can adjust the fan. So that's 100%. So you can get an idea of fan noise. And that is down to 0, or the lowest RPM. So this is a really quick way of working out if your fan actually supports 0 RPM or not. Yes, Kath?
Rick H, can you see it?
Oh. Well, Bill!
Do.
When you switched on the PSU, the monitor behind you went off. When you first switched on, not now.
Yeah, we know. It's a bit of...
There's something very weird going on in this electrical environment. It really is. I think there's ley lines here somewhere. There's a €20 super chat from Stuart Cleary. Thank you very much kindly, sir.
He's drank too much.
I have.
Not you.
Oh, you're lucky, Mike, to have such a tech-savvy and good-looking wife. You most likely know that.
I think you've
I had to double. I had to. Kath says thanks. Tech-savvy. Tech-savvy. She can't even use a whiteboard without erasing information off it. Never gonna let that one go. She's tech savvy. She can turn off the lights.
I'm tech savvy. I can write boob on a calculator.
She can write boobs on a calculator and boobless as well.
Which I always do at your work before we leave.
Right. Anyway, back to.
We're meant to be doing Rick H's question.
What was Rick H's question?
Have you looked into?
Have you looked into the Thermalright LGA 1700 mount? No, I have not looked into any LGA 1700 stuff. I'll be honest with you, it doesn't interest me at all in the slightest. Very much like AM5, I have got no interest in it at all at the moment. Now, ironically, last week in the stream, I did do the pricing up of an AM5 system, and I did say if I sold the PCs that I've got that I need to sell, I could then build that PC that I spec'd out. And I'm actually getting quite close to it. I've sold 2 of the 3 PCs this week. So potentially that might still happen, even against my better judgment. But I don't think I'd go LGA 1700. I'd be even less likely now. When 12th gen came out, I think it would have made more sense. Now that 13th gen has come out, and we know that 14th gen is most likely going to be on a different socket again, it's kind of, if you imagine it's like climbing up a hill. So you climbed up and you're at the peak of it, and it's all downhill from now. Rick H says, buy the mounting plate. Thank you for the super chat with your $20, Rick. That is very kind of you, but unfortunately with that mounting plate I would then need to purchase a motherboard to go with said mounting plate. David Andrew says, by comparison to Mike, anybody is more tech savvy. That is a good point, to be fair. Thank you for the super chat, Rick. David says, Intel 12th gen are at a low price. They kind of are, but they're not.
Do you want both lights on now? Just one?
Just one will probably be right for now.
You've got nice lights there, haven't you? This is the sort of the internal conflict I have at the moment of being someone who's doing tech videos. I feel that LGA 1700 and AM5 offer poor value for money in terms of the 10th and 11th gen for Intel, and also obviously AM4. There's so much value in those platforms at the moment. Arguably they are still relevant, and they probably will be for a long time. You look at the amount of people that are still rocking 8000 or 8th gen Intel CPUs. There's a lot of people still using them, and this for good reason, because a processor, just because it's not the latest and greatest, doesn't mean it's defunct or irrelevant. It just means that there's less people using it, or there's less people interested in, which I guess by technical definition is what relevance means. But I feel that relevance means more of a value proposition. If something's valuable or has a value, to me it's still relevant. Thank you very much, Patrick LaBelle, for your $5 Canadian super chat. I went to a Halloween party disguised as a chicken. I met a girl disguised as an egg. Later I finally got the answer. Very good. That's very funny. Well done. Alexa says, I agree, AM5 has priced me out of building a new PC. I think that is, yeah, I think that is pretty much what has happened. The Intel 12th gen, some of the prices aren't too bad, but it's still, you're locked into that Intel lunacy where if you buy a low-end processor, it's locked. You can't change certain aspects of it. Whereas with AMD, obviously, even if you buy a relatively inexpensive board like a B450, you can still overclock the snot out of it if you want to. The options are there, whereas Intel seems to want to lock down those options for some bizarre reason. I know they want to push people towards their higher tier platform, but even still with overclocking, it's not huge gains. That's more of an enthusiast thing. But then people like us who build our own PCs, we are, I would say, enthusiasts. So even if we're not going to be hardcore overclocking, we still want the ability to do something should the need ever arise. Which, yeah, for Intel is something that you can't do, which I think sucks. Anyway, moving on. So, back to this fan. Captain Meets Adventure says, alright, I made the mistake of watching Liverpool instead of Mr. Saturday Night. It was a shite show. Oh dear. Sorry to hear that. So, fan. Let's get back to this fan. So this is on the lowest setting, and basically I can't feel any air coming through there at all. There might be a little bit. Very minimal. Is it loud? No. The power supply fan there is louder. There's a very slight tick to it. So I'll get the microphone. I will put it literally in front of it. That's the roll. Good point. So there is the L microphone. Let's do this scientifically. So I'm going to measure 6 inches. I could have just done it by the size of my todger and then times it by 2 really, but anyway.
Patrick's off.
Cheers, Patrick. Right, that is now at 6 inches away from the cooler. So that is at the lowest setting. I'm going to knock this up to 50%. Sorry, that's a little bit more. So that's at 50%.
Bang! Didn't work.
For those of you that are listening with headphones and
Sorry.
you cranked it up then to see what it sounds like, Kath apologises profusely.
Blame William Bodie.
William's fault. So that's 50%. I'm going to knock it up to 100% now. That's at 100%. Now obviously at 100% you're going to hear some noise. That goes without saying. It's moving a decent amount of air, to be fair. And a lot of that noise is actually turbulence because there's a lot coming out the sides. Yeah, you can hear the tone change, you know. Let's put it down. So that is back down to its lowest setting. So it's 500 RPM at the low end, 1500 RPM at the high end.
The Game Max Trooper case, are the latches to the front panel on the outside or the inside?
Rush ratio. That is a good question. Yeah, the Game Max. Which one is it? Commando? Trooper. Yeah, the Trooper. If you look inside, so take off the rear and the side panel, and you'll see there's 3 plastic little push clips almost. it's probably easier to see on the glass side first of all. So there's one at the top, middle, and one at the bottom. The one at the bottom you might not be able to get to very easily because it's in that shroud. So if you look in just inside around the top, you'll see it. Just push it in, and then you can lever the front of the case off a little bit, then do the next one. You'll be able to pull it a bit more, then do the last one, and it should swing out. Then you can do the ones on the other side. What was I looking at? Oh, RGB. What's the RGB spread like on this? It doesn't look too bad, actually. Colours all seem to be not bad at all, pretty vivid. Not too much bleeding. Where's Q1? Is there a Q1? Oh, no, there's not there, is there? Brightness turned down doesn't really change a great deal. That is a little bit brighter. Hey, rainbow puke. So yeah, it does look nice. The lighting they've done really nicely, and it shines through quite well to the back as well, as you can hopefully you can make out. Yeah, I quite like that. It's got a nice lighting effect. The fan is very quiet. For most people, I think, realistically, putting this with something like a Ryzen 5 3600 or a Ryzen 5 5600 is probably its sweet spot. 3700 or 5700, 5800, 3800, that sort of stuff, probably not the way to go. But yes, quite nice. Rush says, thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate that so much, as I'm waiting on 3 more GameMax ARGB fans coming, so I can install them at the front or intake, or 2 on the side. Thank you, legend. No worries, you're very welcome. James Miscellaneous is there, says, I'm lurking, watching while eating. How you doing, James? Cyberclue says, I kind of agree with Mike. I think I'll stick to 10th gen and wait to see if they fix the socket problem with 14th gen. I've told you this before, I'll say it again. I am always about value for money. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a skinflint, although some of you probably would say that. But I don't think it's worth spending a ton of money on stuff which doesn't give you a kind of a linear improvement in performance. We've all seen the graphs. So you start off at a bottom point, you get to a certain point, and then you get your diminishing returns. So in terms of computing, anything over maybe a 6-core processor, if you're buying a 20-core, 24-core, whatever it is, it's diminishing returns unless you have specific applications or needs for those particular processes or processor cores. So for me, it's always been like the Ryzen 5 3600, the 5600, the 10400, 11400 in Intel, that sort of stuff. That for me is kind of like where the value segment ends. And for most people, you don't really need more than that, especially if you're just playing games, because you're not going to take advantage of the cores and threads anyway. If, on the other hand, you're doing it for like what we do for work, obviously the streaming PC is only a Ryzen 5 3600. It's absolutely fine because it doesn't need that many cores. It just gets on and does its thing. I make a few videos on it, so it's fine. My work PC is a 5800X, which is got extra cores and it powers through tasks. I use Adobe Premiere, so it does favour somewhat frequency over cores. So I did have a 3900X. I swapped out the 2, performance-wise roughly the same, but faster cores, more efficiency, etc, etc. So that is why I did it. If I wasn't doing video editing, I'd probably be on an older setup, maybe like Kath, for instance. She's Ryzen 5 2600, which we actually got from Welly Bob ages ago. So Kath's making great use of that, and it's still doing everything we need. So Kath does kind of pretty much most of the admin for the site and answering questions and all that kind of stuff. Effectively as a work computer, but arguably we could, if we wanted to, upgrade the hell out of it and put it down as a business expense, because it is a business computer, but it doesn't need to be. So why spend the money on something when you don't need... I know it's nice, don't get me wrong, I love it, but I personally, I would rather do things like maybe a performance enhancement in terms of maybe a cooler. So maybe swap out a slightly noisy cooler for a nicer, quieter cooler, or one that looks nicer or doesn't make horrible noises when you ramp up the fans. Those are the sort of upgrades which to me have more tangible value than just buying the next processor up because it's newer. If you like doing that, that's cool. It's absolutely fine. It's everyone's prerogative, and that's why this market is so diverse, because if you just want to be at the cutting edge all the time or just behind the cutting edge, you can spend your money on that stuff and enjoy it, and hell, sell us the used stuff cheap. That's great. We love it. But you don't really need to do that, in my personal opinion. Sorry, just checking. Phone is at 96% charge now, so it's almost fully charged.
Quite quick.
It has got, considering that's a Qi charger, it is 15 watts at maximum. I'm not sure what my phone actually supports, whether it's 10 or 7.5 or even 5 watts. iPhone XR QI, have a look it up. I'm sure it's probably 15 watts. But yeah, it does seem to be charging pretty well, and doesn't leave a scold imprint after, which is awesome.
That's Rush's first build.
Rush's first build, awesome stuff. Aletta says, I have 12 fans running 100% in my PC and I can't hear them at all. I love my active noise cancelling headphones. There is that to it. That is definitely some way of doing it. I'm not entirely sure what to... Actually, this will be a good comparison because I've got the ID cooling one here. I could plug this in at the same time and see which one is noisier, but I don't know whether or not I can actually easily differentiate, decide between the two. Differentiate. I can't say. Why can't I say that word? Differentiate. Did I say that right then? Differentiate.
I think it sounded right, but it's me, innit?
Lucky Man 1 says, what make and model charger? Yeah, it's in the description. It's Cottny. Cottny or Cottny. Like 35 quid. It is quite expensive for a charger.
There is a 10 port one.
Yeah.
It's a bit cheaper.
Blame Bob. But it is good. It does seem to charge pretty quick. Now this is what I said about the clips earlier. Those are hooked round. So even if you hook them on and you shake it around, it's unlikely they're going to fall off. I like that. That for me is a value add. Clipped on nicely on the sides. This is a pointless experiment, but I might as well do it. Because I am actually genuinely interested to see which one has a more apparent amount of speed and power. If I put them both onto the same thing, we should be able to find that out. I think, hopefully. There we go. It's like a pair of RGB boobs going on there. So I'm going to say this has got more noise to it straight away, but I'm not sure if it's coming through the table. I would say that's coming through. Yeah, that's definitely resonating. Ow! Definitely resonating through the table. I'm pretty sure this is very slightly louder. On full blast, I wouldn't say there's a great deal between them. Although, that is moving more air, for sure. Although, is it? There actually probably isn't a great deal between them. Actually, I should get my anemometer
or air meter out and see what that says, because it's easy for me to be slightly biased or even wrong. I've been that before many times. So let's turn this on, and we want peak, no, min max. Where's the light? And we want miles per hour. Let's have the light on. Min, max, maximum we want. So let's do, which way does the airflow go? So try and get it about 6 inches away, or ruler's length. Oh, that's not it. I want the bloody light. There we go. Knots, miles per hour. There we go. So out the back of there is currently 3.5 miles per hour. And let's min, max. I wish the light would stay on. Gosh darn it. Maximum, and do the same there. Let's move that out of the way in case that is doing anything towards it. I don't think it will be. Well, that seems more focused. So the air coming out of the back of this one is actually 4 miles per hour, whereas that was 3.5. So potentially this could be a winner. If the airflow is concentrated enough through the right parts of the stack, then it could actually perform pretty well. I would have said there's more air coming through there, but maybe it's just dispersed more. It's really hard to tell. I need to... We got smoke machine. I could do with a smoke machine. Let's turn these down. So that's about 50%. That's definitely vibrating through the desk. Where is it?
Got that vape in the drawer. Probably need charging.
There's definitely a little bit of a vibration on that fan, more so than this one. Yeah, arguably I think they've done a better job in terms of balancing. But it's hard to tell actually, because with that off the desk, that sounds quieter. But that doesn't have any resonance on the desk at all, which normally means the fan is better balanced, or the isolation is better.
I know that won't work, will it? Brilliant Bodie said, do you think they will use a blade stove fan in a PC in the future?
Sorry, it says William Bodie's was in what?
They will use a blade stove fan in a PC in the future.
Don't know.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
get our stove fan and put behind it and see if the wind makes
We
it
have
go.
got a stove fan, yeah. I'm tempted. Wonder if you could do that, run a processor with one of them. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Nick Barnes says, surely the bigger fin stack will draw more heat away for the same volume of air throughput. It is, but it's so marginal or fractional. It really is. Quite often I've looked at coolers and I thought, well, that's smaller, so it's going to be worse. And sometimes it actually works out better. It's the combination of the fan hitting the right areas and hitting the heat pipes exactly where they want to be hit, or just getting the right airflow through them, which us, well, mortals struggle with. And you actually just need to try it. Now these are staggered and offset. So what is that? Those are internally the fan. The pipes are basically the same. So they're staggered and also in almost identical positions. There's very little between them. Possibly they're actually a little bit longer on the Umbra. So I don't know if you can see those very well. Arguably, I would say, if I didn't know better, they could almost be from the same place. There is not a great deal of difference in terms of the fans themselves. but
How much do they hurt your fingers?
lots.
What about that one?
That one's right. Because that one's low power, really. That one's... Yeah, you can hear it. So for the same power load on the actual thing there, this is putting out more RPMs. Idiot.
Lucky man, William Bodie have been waiting for you to do that all night.
Oh, they...
I thought I'd help you along.
Oh, thank you. It was going to happen at some point. DJ Mike. Sausage cutting in progress. Thank you, James Miscellaneous.
Sausage slicer.
97%. Anyway, what do you think? Let me know in the comments, actually, which one do you prefer? If you had the choice, if they were both the same price, which one would you go for?
Can I hear what they sound like on the tip of your nose?
No. If they're both the same price, which one would you go for? Let's take the price out of the equation, because at the moment the ID cooling is the cheaper version by about £10, maybe slightly more.
David to get the ID cooling on.
So, yeah, I think actually if it came down to the price, I know this is easy to fit, which for me is quite valuable. I'm not entirely sure about the mounting mechanism on that one yet, but no doubt we will find out in due course. So let's disconnect his VU and then try and remember which parts actually belong in which box. That is often a problem here. So what is people saying? The black one has stiffer fins. Yeah, it certainly does. Ah, Bagger's with us. The one with silver heat pipes, okay. They look similar. David says, ID have a video on how to mount it. Rick H says, I would choose the larger one, more surface area. James Mercedes says, neither one is a Mugen 5, so the question makes no sense. That is a bit of an in-joke for a certain Mr. Holzman, who insists on those. Nick Barnes says, depends on the results in my opinion. I watched a review of the 224 and impressed by the efficiency, quality and the price. Really Random View says the black one looks better. Arguably I would say the black one I think looks slightly more premium due to the fact that it has got blacked out fins, which is kind of, it's one of those daft things really. It doesn't make a great deal of difference. And
They've got that bit of thing on the bottom.
The bit of tape.
No, that.
The heatsink bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is something that the Kolink's got. It's got the kind of the raised fin sinks on the bottom of the block, which might actually help. That one has just got a larger metal section, so it's really, really hard work, isn't it? To kind of.
I like how it makes look through it a few more times. It makes the face look funny.
Does it?
Yeah.
Funnier than usual.
Look through it again.
No, can't. I don't think it makes any difference, does it?
Andre's in, but no one's lost their car yet.
Hi, Andre. Dude, where's your car? That was a very bizarre night.
When he left his car.
Did he actually come into the stream asking if we knew where his car was?
No, he's just panicking. He's like, my apologies for being late. We're drinking beers with my mates. I'm watching the game. And of course, my team is the only one still losing at the moment. No calf, no one lost their car at this time. Yes.
Oh man, I'm so hungry. My daughter. Can't believe my daughter stole my turkey. That's just bang out of order.
That sounds really wrong.
What, that she stole my turkey? Does it? Dear Lord. By the power of Holzman.
Nails off.
Cheers, Neil. thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. I'm sure I've not put something back in here.
Foul.
I have done. I've done a reboxing. And it worked. Yeah.
That's cool, well.
Oh. Right. I'm still. I think for 20 quid still, you can't go too far wrong. How much did we pay for the those Antec A50s? They were like a tenner, weren't they? Oh. There we go. We've gone to. It's the last clip to Trans Central. There's a lot of stuff in here. Actually, holes in the bag where that should go as well. Or maybe where it shouldn't go.
What a whole turkey, you know, like 5 slices.
Yeah, only 5 slices, but that is enough to ruin my tea.
When that was all you had for tea.
Yeah, that was all I was going to have, just slices of meat while I was waiting to do the stream. And she took them from me.
Gone. Mike, Captain Meat. Mike, when are we getting another game stream? I reckon Roller Coaster Tycoon or Last of Us would be good. You've never been a roller coaster, really, have you?
No, not really. I've not. Kath was more of the Roller Coaster Tycoon. I think we've got a Wreckfest. Well, not actually a stream, but we have got a Wreckfest video coming out very shortly, which no doubt Aletum will like, I expect. Who is?
Pete.
Cheers, Pete. See you next week. Oh, I don't like this packaging at all. But packaging doesn't affect performance, does it? The only thing it affects is my performance, if anything. But it's quite easy to see why this may turn up with multiple broken bits, because oh, that bit on top. Yeah, it looks like it's. I think I've forgotten something there. Oh well, I will get over it. Right, what else was I going to look at? Oh, that's what I was going to look at, the bloody fan hub, which I never got round to doing. But let's take a look at it anyway. Now that we've got no fans on the desk at all to test it with.
Brickman says Vitro V5 is good, it's got good temps.
Vitro V5 is pretty good, but it's getting to be quite expensive now. On Amazon, I think the last time I looked it was £32. Maybe £31.99. There's quite often a deal on with it as well. So if you do hang on, you can quite often get it for like 26, I think it is. And the Vitro V5 for 26 quid is awesome.
As it's Halloween, let's talk scary movies.
Captain Meat wants to talk scary movies.
Go subscribe to Captain Meat.
Right, ARGB. Just making sure that this is not going to blow up or anything. No, that sounds okay. So this is the AIRGOO or AIRGOO. AIRGOO sounds terrible, doesn't it? Oh, that smells burnt. Smell that. That smells really burnt.
Don't smell very strong.
I'm sure this ain't smelly vision, but
yeah,
it does, doesn't it? That smells like burnt plastic. Or is it just new plastic? It smells burnt, doesn't it?
3M is probably some dodgy crap. It does smell a bit surgical, to be honest.
Yes. It smells like when you drive past Wrexham or DRG or something like that, someone that makes medical packaging. So, anyway, on this end is a SATA connection, as we say in Bristol. So you plug in the SATA. Does it matter which way it goes in? Sometimes these aren't actually keyed. So yeah, that goes in there. And there's no flames coming from it. Good sign. Little red LED, so you know it's on. That's kind of cool. And on that side, it tells you what fan numbers there are, so F1 through to F8. For fan sensing, you have to have the fan plugged into fan header number 1. Otherwise, it doesn't send a signal back to your motherboard.
On that side, you've got 8 addressable RGB outputs, which is kind of nice. And there's a massive 3M adhesive strip on the back to keep it all in place. And I wasn't too sure if the LED was flickering then, but it's not. It's just because it's recessed. On this end, there is another cable which comes out the bottom. That is their own proprietary connection, it would appear. And that is then going to go into a 4-pin PWM and a 3-pin 5-volt addressable RGB. Pretty decent length on it as well. So depending where you're actually going to mount this in the back of your computer, you should really be able to find somewhere to plug those in. Well, that's probably the length of an entire PC there. So yeah, that seems to work okay. So how can I test this now? Let's plug that into one of these. And let's get a fan. What fan have I got? Oh, I haven't seen those for a while. Let's have a look at one of those.
You should have these firework ones, Mr. Here. What were they?
Coronas, weren't they? Was it Corona?
So.
PC cooling Corona. These are the weirdest fans I've ever seen. These are Arctic's P12 ARGB PST 0 RPM. And I don't know why they've done it, but they've got the addressable RGB coming out one side and then the PWM coming out the other. I know why they've done it is because they wanted to put the cables down through the plastic channels at the back. So putting 2 down the same one was kind of difficult to do. But it just makes it really hard to actually cable manage. So let's plug this into light number 1. I wonder if it gives you any default output. No, it doesn't appear to. And let's see what we can do on the fan side of things. This is on the fan sensing side. And see if this is going to rev up or rev up. That appears to be making absolutely... Oh, tell you what, if I connect it, that'll help. This should go to 0 RPM because these fans do support 0 RPM. Oh, go on, you can do it.
Andre's question. What are you waiting?
Andre's question, there we go, it's got down to it. Andre, RX 6600 GPUs. Any ideas on this? Grabbing off AliExpress with their 11/11 sales day for 185 quid or euros. If this performs like Brian from Tech Yes City made out to be, it's going to be an amazing bargain. Yeah, that should be pretty good. I'd quite like to see what those are like myself, actually, at some point. It's quite exciting, actually. We've got some new graphics cards coming soon, haven't we, from AMD on the 3rd, or at least been announced. Yeah, we won't. Right, 50%. These fans are really good. Full blast. All you can hear is the sound of whooshing air.
Hey,
these are really good.
Okay, baby.
Down to 0 RPM again. Right, we want some RGB. Right, I need another SATA connection. 3 SATA plugs on one device. That's probably never a good idea, is it? So that is going into that. So if I plug that into one of these, that should in theory give me some addressable RGB. Hello Poppy. Go on in.
Mind that fan.
Get out my tea. Just like your daughter. No, not your daughter, your mother. There we go, we have addressable RGB, and just to prove that works through the hub, there we go, so we've got a hub going into a hub. It's like Inception hubs. Turn that up.
Is it worth changing DC fans to PWM fans for better control and lower sound levels?
Keep your face out there, you're going to hurt your nose, you fool. It's going to hurt you, isn't it?
Poppy. This is the cat that chases the washing.
This is the first time that she's actually taken any notice of fans. She likes Arctic.
Do you like Arctic?
Going to be a towel in the blender.
Do you like Arctic fans, Pops?
I'll tell you what.
It really is.
Tell you what. Just sit there. That's fine. You're all right, Babs. Anyway, moving on. So this all works. I like it. The fan hub doesn't make any weird electrical noises, which is actually good because sometimes you get some hubs, you plug them in and the SATA noise, you can just hear like a high-pitched hum, which is super annoying. No, Poppy?
Brickman asked, how often would you clean a PC and thermal paste CPU?
Sorry, I do love these fans. Arguably, these are the best fans ever, apart from that stupid layout for the what's it called. Right, we've proved that works anyway. Let's turn it off. Thank you very much. Sorry, which, what, when?
How often would you clean a PC and thermal paste CPU?
I would clean a PC as often as it needs it. That's probably a really sarcastic answer, but to be honest with you, it's true. If you live in a super, super clean house and you kind of don't have laminate floors or don't have animals or you don't do any DIY work as such, or you live in an area where there's relatively clean air anyway coming into your house, you probably don't need to clean it that often. It's down to the individual. I probably clean my PC. I do that PC behind me pretty much daily, just around the sides and on the top and stuff. But the actual insides I probably don't do more than, I don't know, once every few months, every 6 months or so. And we've got obviously lots of cats and other things going on, so I don't think there's any sort of hard fast rule. It's just basically do it when you feel it needs it. If you've got a PC with a side glass window, it's really, really easy because all you need to do is literally just look inside and have a quick look. Can you see any buildup of dust? No? Happy days, leave it alone. If, on the other hand, you look inside and you can see dust or spider webs or whatever accumulating, cat fur anywhere, then clearly you know that visually that is the best way of doing it. If you look inside of the actual fins for a CPU cooler, that's going to be the ones which will normally be the telltale ones. Or maybe even your graphics card. Take a look in there. But yeah, I wouldn't say there isn't a kind of a hard fast rule of doing it. CPU thermal paste, again, it's kind of the same sort of deal. If you're using your PC 24/7, then it's probably not going to have that many heat cycles, so it probably will last a long time. If your PC gets turned on and off every day, so it goes through complete cool down and warm up cycles, then you're going to get that expansion and contraction, which is going to kind of make the paste separate slightly, but most of it will still be glued on the bottom. So I would probably do thermal paste maybe, I don't know, 6 months to a year. Most pastes, especially decent quality ones like the stuff that Arctic do, MX4, that I think they rate for something like 5 years. So it depends on the use case scenario, it really does. Some people like to do that stuff every month and just for the sake of it because they enjoy doing it. But yeah, it's down to the individual, it really is. Andre says PC cleaning, negative pressure case equals every day. That is going to be another deciding factor as well. If you've got a PC which has got positive or negative pressure, depending on the airflow pattern, like this PC behind me, I'm super lucky with it. Well, it's not lucky, it's design, but because it is a vertical airflow effectively, and also slightly positive pressure, it doesn't need hardly any cleaning at all, because dust, unless it's really super fine dust, in which case it's easy to kind of articulate and move around, heavy dust particles won't fall down and pull in very easily because it has to go down, it then has to go 90 degrees across, then it has to go 90 degrees back up again. And most dust particles aren't going to do that, so they're going to settle around the outsides or underneath. If the fans were ramped right up at 100% when it's like a dust buster, then clearly it's going to pick up more, but the fans generally are on quite low RPM, and because of that it doesn't really pull up much dust at all. And considering where it is,
I'm amazed how clean that PC actually is. I can run that for months and it stays really clean. You get a dust settle on the top. So if I wipe that across now, there's not actually any dust on there at the moment, but I do vacuum pretty much daily anyway, but yeah.
Any cleaning kits you recommend?
There isn't a cleaning kit that I recommend as such. There are certain things which I find make life easier. One of which is the isopropyl alcohol. That's really useful for getting stains. Like if you get thermal paste on the motherboard, on the plastic bits, it's really good for getting that out. And for cleaning in general. For cleaning the PC inside, the Wins glass and display cleaner is very, very good indeed. If you can get it, is like rocking horse shit. You used to be able to pick it up really cheap, but now it's very hard to get hold of. So that's that one, Wins Dash and Display Cleaner. You can use it on your monitors, on the screens. It's excellent on glass and on plastics. It renews them, but it doesn't put that kind of weird silicone shine that you get with some car stuff. So it's not like a cockpit shine or anything like that, or back to black. This is a proper, almost industrial cleaner, but it's very, very hard to get hold of. The next time I find some of this, I'm going to buy it in bulk, I think. I did actually consider buying a load of that in bulk and sending it out to patrons at the end of the year as a Christmas gift, but it is really hard to get hold of. I'm struggling to get hold of it, and I actually work in a shop that sells it. So, yeah.
Brickland, thanks. I'm a beginner in PC building.
You're very welcome. We're all beginners, to be honest with you. It's just how long we've been a beginner for. There's a lot of people out there that will say, oh no, I know this, I know that, and this is how you should do it. It's bullshit. We're all learning as we go along.
Trev Good, is the
Hi Trev.
compressed air a bad thing to use to breathe dust out of a PC?
Compressed air is fine, but it is a little bit on the expensive side and a bit wasteful, really. It does a pretty good job, to be fair. Although, if you're using compressed air, what you've got to think is, where are you going to be cleaning your PC with that compressed air? If you're doing it inside, then you probably need to have a vacuum next to it as well. So you're using the compressed air on one side, your vacuum on the other. So you're using the air to blast the dust out, but you want to capture that dust quickly before it goes around the rest of your PC or in your house, because otherwise you're just pushing it away from one place for it to recycle round again. So my personal opinion is you're better off with a vacuum cleaner if you're cleaning inside. If you're one of those people, you're lucky enough to take the PC outside, you've got a power socket, one of those dust vacuums, really good. We've got a couple here actually. Dust blasters, they're really good. But you do have to make sure that you kind of keep hold of your fans, because you don't want to spin your fans too fast. You can damage the bearings, or even in some fans you can send voltage back into your motherboard. Most of the modern fans have got circuitry to stop that now, but it definitely is a thing for some fans, especially Molex ones.
Squibby's off.
Cheers, Squibby.
I put hi by mistake.
Swizzler80 says Arctic makes a kit for cleaning and preparing the CPU or GPU core. Yes, I've seen that recently actually. That looks quite an interesting thing. Arctic's own, I'm guessing it's just basically isopropyl alcohol or some blend of isopropyl alcohol. Be interesting to see what it actually is. With a lot of companies these days, they jump onto a little bit of a marketing bandwagon. They see a market area and it's like, yeah, it's just reinventing the wheel really. But fair dues to Arctic, they do some pretty good stuff, and they're what seems to be a relatively kind of forward-thinking and green company, so they don't like a lot of wastage. So I can't imagine them renaming some other product just for the sake of it. So there must be something actually that it does other than just be isopropyl alcohol. Poppy, can I have the mouse, please? Thank you. Mad cat. We at 100% yet? Must be. 100% charged. Happy days, and it's cool to the touch. I love that little charger. It's fecking awesome. It really is. Andre says compressed air only helps with extremely light dust buildup. It is very expensive to actually use on a regular basis. Yes, very much so. There's cheap USB charged air blowers with brushes that work much better. Mark Barry says, I take my PC outside on the workbench. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Unless you've got mine.
Yeah.
Mine.
If Kath's PC needs, like, I don't know,
But that's,
committing or
somebody
something.
else said their F15 is a dust magnet. And that's
The
not
F15 is a dust magnet, it really is. Which, I think the F15 has got such good airflow that it's kind of, you've got big fans creating a big vortex of air, and because the mesh is so big on it, it just pulls in all the dirt and dust that is in the air. And because they're like slap bang towards the front, there's not much between it. So yeah, any dust which is about is going to go straight in there. Which is a shame because it's a really nice case. But it does get dirty very, very quick.
Squibbers worked it out. They get an extra hour in bed, not an hour less. I find I'm more tired though, even though I gain an hour.
Do we gain an hour?
We get an
next
extra
week?
hour tonight.
Tonight? No way.
Yeah,
Tonight?
but it's horrible because
Honestly?
it's darker, so your melatonin kicks in and you feel more tired now until the clocks go forward.
So we get midnight twice tonight?
Yeah.
Fucking A. Sorry. I'm supposed to be working tomorrow morning, so that's like great. I get an extra hour. Woo!
Yeah, but it
Yeah, because I said that the other day, didn't I? I was
it's
thinking,
dark when you finish.
oh, that's going to be next week. But it's this
That
week.
was my fault because I saw a news day round saying the 7th of November. But that ain't even a Sunday, is it?
Oh, that's perfect. I was thinking next week is going to be great because I can have an extra hour before I have to get up for bed. Amazing.
I hate it though.
Oh, that is great.
Now I'm going to feel crap until they go back to this again.
Shearer says, what's the matter with a dish of soapy water? Actually, to be honest with you, I do quite like using that. So, microfiber cloth, get some warmish water, a couple of drops of dish soap in there, get it on the cloth, then wring the cloth out completely. So it's basically as dry as you can get it by wringing it out. So it's just slightly damp across, or moist as they say. And use that to clean your PC. It'll do a fantastic job, and microfibers do trap the dirt very, very easily. Worth doing. Stuart Cleary says, love the Saturday night streams, Mike, and the very pretty Kath. I think you pulled there, babe. Thank you, Stuart, for the comments and also the
I
Spondulix.
think he meant to put Poppy.
And very pretty Poppy. He never calls me pretty, bastard.
Maybe that's why he wants the lights off.
What's that?
Does
Oh,
super chat to
yeah.
knock you off for a little while.
They can probably see you in the reflection on this on there.
We wouldn't be saying that, would they then?
I can see your monitor. You probably can't see that anyway. It's good job it's only 1080p. What's I going to do next? Right, there's something else I was going to look at.
Poppy's getting
I'm
that
intrigued about this
before.
thing, the stud finder. I don't even know how. I don't even think I've got any. There's no walls with studs in here, but maybe it'll find an electrical outlet, possibly. Comes with some batteries from the well-known Warriors brand.
You did a review of one like this, didn't you, right at the beginning? You had your little piece of plasterboard with it was on, didn't
Scott Maxfield says Google says it's next week, November the 6th. That is probably, are you in the US? Because the US normally does it a week after us. I hope.
you? I got told yesterday it was 30th.
Yeah, I told you.
Oh yeah, you googled it, didn't
I
you?
Googled it.
But I saw it said November the 7th.
Hey Siri,
One meme I had.
when is UK daylight saving time?
British summertime ends on the 30th of October, 2022, and will begin on the 26th of March, 2023.
So is that tonight?
I don't understand.
Yo.
Oh, there, I
Right.
do you.
Ooh, look at that. It's got OLED display. It's not actually OLED.
What about, this is funny, look. Bad Joke Friday on a Saturday night.
It's got
What about the stud in the beanie cap?
the stud and the beanie cap. Boom. So this is for detecting. Wow, there's loads of settings here. So this does 1 inch of wood.
Dave the Perp says it is tonight. And Scott is in the US.
Nope. Oh, it did bleep. There must have been a bit of wood.
We doing it in the trousers.
Yeah. That's an inch of wood almost. On a good day with the wind on my side.
Can I have a piece of wood, please? Luckily, I knew we would be doing this video.
That's not got any. It's a bit dusty.
It don't matter if it's got dust on it. It's bloody wood.
Cat fur on it.
Cat fur is not going to mess this up. Right. A wood. A wall detector set for 1 inch of wood.
Oh, you want that fur back, didn't you, Flame?
Okay. Right, that's 1.5 inches. Right, it says edge there.
Joe says next year in spring 2023, after we turn our clocks back ahead, it will be for the last time it's been eliminated in the Midwest USA.
Oh, cool. No, that's terrible.
Is that the horrible one?
They can't back. I don't know how this works. I'm going to have to look into that. When are they doing it?
Not ours.
Stuart Cleary, so is it tonight or tomorrow the clocks go back? I'm sure it must be tonight.
That doesn't make any difference today or tomorrow, does it?
Yeah. Lucky
Does
Man
it
says
automatically?
at 2022 the clocks will go back on the 30th of October at 2 a.m. So 2 o'clock this morning will be tomorrow morning will be twice.
1 o'clock.
So it'll hit 2 o'clock and then it'll go back and it'll say 2 o'clock.
1 a.m.
Yeah, it'll go 1:59,
1 a.m.
1 a.m. Yeah. It's definitely tonight. Awesome. So yeah, kind of in tomorrow morning.
But it all does it automatically apart from the cooker.
So United States will stop changing the time next year and it's about time. That pisses me off because 2 of our really good videos which actually make lots of money for us on YouTube are the Fitbit how to change the time, which always gets a bit of a blast next week for the US members
And us.
and us this week, and I'm not sure about Australia. Australia, do you do your...
Daylight savings started 3 weeks ago in some Aussie states. Queensland, where I live, does not have or want it.
Gotcha.
I don't want it because it makes me feel ill. It's the root of all sad disease.
That is interesting. Spring forward, fall back. I'm looking forward to that extra hour that I'm not going to really notice, but it's an hour.
But it's not. It's like all dark when you come out of work then. And in the mornings just catch up and it's dark in the morning and it's dark
Yeah, but
at night.
let's think about it logically.
Sun lamp.
Think about it logically.
Let's get a
We
solar
never
panel sun lamp.
we never leave the house apart from to go and buy cheap stuff down at the co-op. So we spend less than half an hour outside the house, if that.
Yeah, we have the wind curtains open, don't we? We can see sunlight.
No, the blinds are down because we're filming.
Not in the kitchen, at my sink.
Well, I don't want to go in the kitchen. I went there once. I'm never.
And your turkey was gone.
My turkey was missing. My daughter gobbled my turkey, and I'm really upset about it.
No, it's getting worse.
That is getting worse.
The wall clock will be right for 6 months, David Burke. And the one in our car battery ain't even charged enough to even have a clock anymore.
Our car battery, because we use the car so little, it actually loses the time. Weirdly, it starts though, so there must be some other battery that, like a real-time clock. The battery starts the car, doesn't it? The car starts okay, but if it's got enough power to start the car, it should have enough power to
you keep setting
store.
the time on the clock and it disappears the next time you use the car.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if it's got enough power to turn the engine over, you'd think it would have enough power to save the battery time. So that must be on another circuit somewhere, or another battery. I wonder if there's a backup battery in a BMW. There must be. I don't know.
Probably got a CR 2032
Right.
in there somewhere.
Wall detector. Yep, it's found it. Let's have me a cup of tea. Put your phone back on charge. I actually miss, genuinely now, the InWin A1 case. I wish I still had that now. That's that little micro, ITX case, which actually had a Qi charger built into the top of it, which was a bloody stupid idea at the time, but now is excellent, and I wish I had one. Anyway. Fly. Ah, there we go. Let's have a look.
The main reason Queensland doesn't have daylight saving is because it fades the curtains.
Yeah, I expect it probably does. The only reason it hasn't changed this year is because the transportation industry has a schedule in place far in advance. Okay, makes sense.
Ours does as well, it just never turns up.
Scribby says, I do sympathise with Kath with SAD syndrome. To be honest with you, get yourself a set of studio lights. They're cheaper than SAD lamps and they do the same job. It's just bright white light, which your brain goes, oh, sunshine.
I don't know, they're LED, that's pretty bad.
True. Shame they haven't got a diffuser on, which I have got a diffuser to make them orange. But then I turn into like...
It's still LED, aren't they?
Yeah, it's bad.
And they're hooked to Wi-Fi.
Captain Me's Adventures has asked such a ridiculous question which I feel that we cannot even answer, and you do not know us very well at all. Mike and Kath, if you were characters in Game of Thrones, who would you be? I reckon Mike would be Tyrion and Kath would be Sansa.
Never watched one episode.
Being that we are...
The nearest...
Yeah, we've never seen... the nearest I got to watching Game of Thrones was somebody I worked with ages ago said, oh, I've got Game of Thrones on DVD, do you want to borrow it? And it's like, no, not really.
Oh, the nearest I got was...
And he's like, oh no, take it, it's great, you'll love it. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll give it a go, whatever, just not to be ungrateful. And I took it away and give it back about a week later after not even taking it out the bag.
The nearest I got was Dilara getting a job on it.
Yeah. We have not watched it and have probably no intention. I don't do the whole kind of medievally Dungeons and Dragons
Period
type stuff.
I don't really like.
Or period stuff, really. I'd like sci-fi to some extent, but
Unbelievable
when
stuff.
it goes into kind of Dungeons and Dragons, Lord of the Rings kind of era, it's not my thing at all, I'm afraid, sorry. Andre says, I definitely recommend watching it and then stop at season 6 and never ever picking it up again. Stuart Cleary says, I've never seen even one episode of Game of Thrones. I think it's one of those, I guess it's going to be like Titanic, isn't it? Where Titanic was this massive, massive boat, but it's a massive, massive juggernaut of a film, and everyone's rushing out to watch it and watching it numerous times in the cinema. And it was ages and ages, years and years later, and it's like, I've still not watched it, I don't want to watch it. It's 3.5 hours of a film, which I've got no interest in, it's historical, blah, blah, blah.
Shall we watch that quite early on, I thought?
No, it's ages. We
watched it in
ages.
2001.
Yeah, and it came out in like 95 or 96.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Because I remember
So
it was Angel.
we avoided it for ages, and then I actually watched it and I
avoid
thought,
it.
that's bloody good, I enjoyed that. And then not just because of, who was the woman in it? She was in Casualty years ago. What was her name?
Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet. Yeah, it wasn't because of Kate Winslet getting her jubblies out. I actually quite enjoyed it, apart from the end. I think that was quite sad.
Thinking of that
Poor old
bitch.
Jack. He should have said, get off my raft, bitch. It's my wood. He could have had the wood detector. He'd have been perfect. If you're going on the Titanic, take one of these and you can find broken old tables in the sea and you can float to your safety. Happy days.
But also, that picture Dave Akins did of you as Jack.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Dave Akins actually posted on Discord a picture of me as Jack.
Oh, you look so weird.
I don't like that film anymore.
Oh, Blake's just come in with a offer.
Blake. Where am I looking? Oh, Blake. Only just joined. If any UK have a Tesco's nearby, they're selling Kellex 4-way smart plug extension for £7.50 in clearance. Just bought the last 4 to go with the one I bought a year ago.
We have got a Tesco's, but stay put on it. That's the nearest one.
I don't know if they'd even have that in there.
Yeah, it's a smaller one. Thank you. Andre says, jokes aside, it is a good show, but not for everyone, especially if they don't like fantasy universes. Yeah, I'm not overly keen on that sort of fantasy stuff. Lord of the Rings, never watched it. And I've got really... The only reason I would watch it would be if maybe I was incapacitated for some reason and I'd watched everything else on Amazon and Netflix, and I'd be like, maybe I should see what it's like. I probably would like it and I'd probably enjoy it, but with the amount of time that I have available, like spare time to actually watch stuff, I value my time quite a lot.
They're saying anything after season 6, that's putting Dilarament on it.
Yeah, it's true.
No offence.
Dutch Jan says, why watch Titanic? That boat sink, you know. That was my thing at the time when it came out. It's like, well, why am I watching a film that I know the answer to? And it's like any of those like historically kind of dramatized things, like World War movies and stuff. It's like, you kind of know the answer, you know how this ends. So it's it's not like it's going to be a cliffhanger, but in some instances, Titanic I think was done quite well. And considering the technology that was available in the 90s to actually make that film, I think they've done a spectacular job, and it does look it still stands up to scrutiny now if you watch it. It does some very good camera work on that.
They did some really good water cooling in that Titanic.
Titanic was the world's first water-cooled passenger liner. William Bodie says, I think the Harry Potter movies are 100 times better than Game of Thrones.
I haven't really watched them either. Seen bits.
Harry Potter, I tolerated because the kids were young and they wanted to watch it. And some of it, I think, was moderately enjoyable. That's the closest I've got to a fantasy universe which I've kind of invested any real time in, I think.
I don't think the kids really watched them. That was probably you. Like when Angel fell asleep and you carried on watching Barbie movie. You loved it.
Yeah. James Messina says, The Abyss is an underrated movie. Yeah, I actually quite like that. That was alright. Stuart Cleary says, there's a rumour now that a bomb went off on the Titanic. Nothing would surprise me these days. Nothing.
It wasn't even the Titanic.
Yeah, I don't... There is a conspiracy or a theory that it wasn't actually the Titanic. It was it the Carpathia was the other one?
No, I can't
There was two boats which were basically built identical. The Titanic and
dings.
whatever the other one was called,
Get
yeah.
insurance on it.
Yeah, and they couldn't get insurance for it, so they basically done what people do with cars, and they just basically changed over the nameplates, which is, yeah, absolute madness. Britannia, thank you.
Britannia, that's the royal one, isn't it?
I think, no, it might have been the Britannia.
Oh, I've got to look it up.
The Carpathia was the one that found them, I think, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I'm not very good at history at times. It doesn't matter because it's history. Britannic. Yeah, it was something along those lines. Harry Pothead and the Stoned Philosopher. Nice.
No, it's Britannic.
Britannic, thank you. Happy days. I cannot believe so far nobody has asked about the RTX 4090 power supply debacle. I'm amazed. Although saying that, I'm not entirely sure that anybody watching this would be remotely interested in purchasing an RTX 4090 if they had the money to buy it. James Messenius wraps up quite nicely saying, yes, who cares about 4090s? Exactly. And I think for most normal people, myself included, if I was to buy a NVIDIA graphics card, it's most likely going to be a 50 or 60 series card, in which case I'm probably going to be drawing, what, 300 watts out of a 600 watt plug. I think I'll probably be alright. David Andrew says, who of us can afford an RTX 4090? Yep, exactly. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I know I am a miserable old git. I get that. I know. I'm a father, a homeowner, a business owner to some extent. I kind of been around the block a bit. I know what things cost. But I do feel that this latest generation of graphics cards from NVIDIA, motherboards from pretty much both sides of the aisle really, and also the AM5 processors, it just seems like it's just way, way too expensive. Like unnecessarily so. Maybe when we start seeing some B-series motherboards come out for AMD on the AM5 platform, things might be a little bit better. I think AM4 was probably too good. So we ended up kind of looking at AM5 and thinking, well, that's what AM4 should have been price-wise. Well, the AM4 seemed quite expensive at times. So I don't know. It's a very weird situation. Oh, Poppy, stop scrolling. Get your head off, you muppet.
Oh, she's doing it in her sleep.
Stay away from the keyboard.
She's sleep scrolling.
She is sleep scrolling. Oh, I missed loads of comments now. Oh wow, there's like a whole conversation going on here I've never even seen. I know that was about fan hubs and stuff. That was ages ago. I'll live with that. Let's get back down to here. Britannic, yep, Middleton PCIe. 4090 equals unicorn. Lucky Man 1 says got family to feed, not my need. Yep. Rick H, I just bought a new RTX 2060 with 12 gigs of RAM. That's a pretty decent setup, isn't it? 12 gigs of RAM on an RTX 2060. That kind of makes a lot of sense. Captain Meets Adventures says, Mike thought Mike's unboxing was a fantasy world. What about Mike's unboxing theme park? Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. The aim, the goal, kind of in a weird way, would be to have the Mike's Unbox In, a pub which was themed on computing and stuff like that, but where we play pub games to win prizes. Like a Saturday night game show.
Come on in.
Come on in, it's Mike's Unbox In. It would be amazing. And basically you have to do games to win prizes, such as a Unicorn RTX 4090.
Or a Letter Liana wave pool.
Yeah. It would be great. So basically you either have to drink or do like pub games, like, you know, where I envisage on a summer's night in Britain filming this in the pub garden, and almost like It's a Knockout for those old enough to remember it. And one of the games which I really want to see is people, you know, when you get a pole in the ground or a stick and you've got to run around it 10 times and then try and run somewhere in a straight line. So there'd be an RTX 4090 on the top of a beer barrel at the end of the pub garden, and there's like 10 would-be people that could win that graphics card. And they've all got to run around the pole 10 times and then run in a straight line. The first one to get to the graphics card gets to keep it. That is Saturday night TV. That's Saturday night gold.
I think we smoked too much weed in the 80s and 90s. And
We did smoke
2000s.
way too much weed in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, which is probably why a lot of this is floating around up there.
Probably, and half the 210s.
But if we can get some sponsorship from maybe
Did do it in the 80s.
CEX, Overclockers, eBuyer, eBay possibly, imagine how cool that would be. A Saturday night game show televised on Twitch and YouTube where people in the UK can win special prizes for their computers. It would be amazing. Come on, wouldn't that be great? That would be absolutely insane. And also they could have a sideline where they could have one of those phone-in things where you...
Cider line.
A cider line, yeah. They could have another thing so people that are at home watching can phone a special number on a premium rate, obviously, and say who wins. And there'll be a secondary prize to the people at home. So whoever is the lucky person who gets pulled out of the hat at the end, if they select the right winner, they might also get an RTX 4090. It's a gold mine. Honestly, it's a gold mine. If they can do it on Heart Radio every single day to win 15 grand by you phoning a telephone number which costs you a £5 a go, I'm sure we can do it. Let's team together as MUB HQ viewers
and make this happen. Somebody out there be a benefactor and buy me a pub.
Could have had that one up the
With a
road.
big garden. We should do it.
Could have had that one up the road, you wouldn't even have to leave Downend.
We could have actually, yeah. The next time the Horseshoe in Downend goes out for
They're not
sale,
on that
I will look at
Swan
it. Oh yeah, the Swan, yeah.
But that's all boarded up now.
Yeah. Captain Meat says, Mike, the thought of Mike's pub quiz makes me moist. We need Mike's unboxing. We need Mike's unboxing. It's a knockout. Mike, you are the YouTube Stuart Hall. Oh, God. James Mussolini says, the Japanese TV show where Chris Farley has his genitals electrocuted showed some promise. Lucky Man says, going around the pole 10 times is cheaper than beer, same effect. Captain Meat says, Mike, speak to me. I have lots of ideas. We need to do it. William Bodie says, weed will soon be legal here in Germany. I did hear that they possibly will be going down that route. That is, that's pretty cool. Captain Meat says, when you have experienced a motherboard built by dwarfs in the shadowy mountains forged by dragon blood and fire, you don't know what a motherboard is. Mookie MC says, I'd invest in Mike's unboxed in, but I think I would drink away all the profits.
We're not about profits.
It's not all about profits. We'd give the profits back. As long as we got enough to keep the rain off our heads, it would be great. I'm genuinely... There's got to be some way that we can do this. And I want to do it before... I don't know. I don't want to be like Ted Rogers in 3-2-1, where I'm like...
Because you can't do the fingers.
Basically retiring. And they're like, quick, let's wheel out old Mike, get him on the screen. And I'm there coming out in Zimmer frame. Hello, it's Mike unboxing. I'm not Welsh. I can't even do 3-2-1. Can't do it. Brigman says, check out NQ64 Cardiff Gaming Pub. Interesting. That's a lot of weed. Yeah, I think that's the way forward. A Saturday or Friday night game show involving technology. Imagine it, because you think it wouldn't cost a lot. Get someone like Hisense in with their cheap tellies. Everyone gets a telly. I'll be like, Opera. You get a TV. You get a TV. You get an RTX 4090.
Don't want to be like that.
And a spare connector. It'd be great.
I don't think ours is buffering.
I think ours is right. Have we dropped any frames? Dropped frames are at 0.0%. So we are good, it would appear. David Underhill says, when I was younger, I ran a lot of pub trivia. Yeah, that's what we could do. It'd be great. Mike, what about celebrities versus crocodiles or celebrity fight lions? It's bloody great.
We have some lions. I like lions.
We could do that. We could do it like, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here.
No, we don't want celebrities.
And instead of, but we'll do internet celebrities. We'll get like someone who's useless at stuff like Linus and chuck him in a pit.
He'd chuck himself in, wouldn't he? Drop himself in.
Yeah. Lucky Man says, yeah, you get FA if you ain't subbed. That's it. That would be another sideline. We've got to get a catchphrase for that. No, can't think of one.
Could be the hostess with the mostest.
Mike's bullseye and the bendy bully. What about the mucky Mike? Yeah, get a
Nothing in this game.
You've done well. You've not gone with the star prize, but you're not going away empty-handed. So we're going to give you some Arctic MX thermal paste and your mucky bully.
Mucky Mike.
Your mucky Mike, which is covered in thermal paste. Happy days. That'd be good.
What colour do you go when you've
dear.
not subbed? Because you could go nothing in this game for
Oh yeah,
not being in red.
that's true. Mookie MC says a Mike's unboxing version of the classic match game. I think it's blankety blank in the UK would be amazing. I was either blankety blank or Play Your Cards Right with Bruce Forsyth. I haven't quite got the chin for it, but that would be amazing. That was a great one.
Baldy billiard ball.
Baldy billiard. Here you are. Here is your baldy billiard ball. Kath's found that far too funny.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh. Freedom House 1984 says, "Hey Mike, Kath, good to see you." Good to see you. Michael Craig says, "Weird time to tune in to this live stream." It is, yes. We are discussing, for those of you who just joined, the Mike's Unboxing game show, which at some point I really, really, really want to do. It's going to happen. We need to do it. Captain Meets Adventure says, "Houseman versus the Devil." Yeah. Wouldn't that be good? Because every week we could get a YouTube celebrity to come down and kind of co-host. And at the end we could have maybe a battle off with the jousting sticks. Yes, jousting sticks.
On the podium, things like Gladiator.
Gladiator podium, up on the top. Kerry Holzman over that side, me on this side. Gonna swap out my Pugil stick for a shovel. Dung. Dung. Kerry Holzman hits the deck. Absolutely great. YouTuber celebrity deathmatch. That would be the one to. That could be it. Look at what you could have won. And then every week, when someone doesn't get the star prize, we can wheel out the top of the line PC. And then when someone does win the star prize, we wheel out the Cooler Master 240mm AIO. James says, "You're going to beat up a shellless turtle. Shame on you." I'd tune in. Oh, this would be great. Really would be great. YouTube celebrity deathmatch. We could mix it in as well and just go a little bit, do like another program, which is basically Jackass, but with computer stuff. That would work, I think. Although I put my fingers in the fans enough times, so I probably don't need to. I don't want to shave down the old sausages too much.
They get even stumpier.
They would be stumpier.
If they weren't as long, they'd look even fatter.
Right, I think that's going to pretty much wrap things up. We've gone completely left of field here. Leave the dream as a dream. The Mike's Unbox in. I so want it to be a reality one day. One day we'll do it.
What will the consolation prizes be?
Consolation prizes would be a subscription to Kerry Holzman's live streams for a year. Michael Craig, that is great. Hi, I'm Mike, and this is Butt Cheek CPU Cooling. Yes, that is what I'm talking about. Ram whacked over knuckles. Seriously, make notes of these things.
Ram cuts between fingers.
Oh yeah, ram paper cuts. Oh my god, that is awful. Delta fan fingers.
Who can get their finger in the furthest?
Oh
for the
man,
longest?
Yeah. Oh
Who
dear.
can touch the CPU the longest with that cooler on?
Yeah.
With thermal paste on the tip.
Thermal paste on the finger on the top of a 13900X overclocked. Oh
Keep your
dear.
finger on the buzzer or you lose.
That's it, yeah. Oh man, we're having just too much fun. There's definitely some games we could definitely do. Mookie MC, the sausage finger of failure points at you. You lose! Oh dear. Morbid fun. Wonder if there could be a way of jump starting a motherboard with your tongue. Wonder if there's enough voltage going through to make that uncomfortable. Probably. I do like that. The sausage finger of failure points at you. I'd like that. That is really good. I might make that into a t-shirt. I could do that like the...
I found this on the web.
Oh, they find your finger on the web.
I found my finger on the web. It's next to the Bowyer's advert. could be the next way. That would be.
You'll have to do it in the most impossible taste.
Get a T-shirt made up, Kenny Everett-esque. Michael Craig says I might actually be dumb enough to try that. Sausage fingers is stuck. I want royalties. Oh dear. Wonder if we could do, like, you know, you do Rapses? Do that with graphics cards or hard drives on the knuckles. Hard drive on the knuckles! Oh!
No, you want cooler towers on there, because they're pretty sharp.
Brigman, stopping CPU fan with your tackle. Oh, this is good.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. Cable mod G-string. Lian Li strimmer thong. Ooh. Right, we're having far too much fun. I think we should wrap it up here before things get out of hand. And
you could shave your head
great ideas
with razor blades on a CPU fan.
Bloody hell. You're a sadist. Right. Yeah, on that bombshell, thank you all very much for tuning in on this Saturday night. Hopefully, if you've not learnt anything, you've been moderately entertained. If you haven't, I'm on my own because I've enjoyed myself anyway. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all for your super chats and your donations, and just for joining us lunatics on a Saturday night. It actually does get to feel a little bit like this is our own kind of little pub thing going on, where you're maybe all around the world, but as far as I'm concerned, you're right here with us. Anyway, that's enough of that nonsense and lovey-dovey crap. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you not being pointed at by the sausage fingers of failure. Thanks for watching.